answer today, but I'm definitely curious. I mean, if we're going to go through our off-season wish list stuff, their answer is when inevitably they will be asked, hey, are you planning on making any adjustments with your hitting staff after the offensive issues this year?
What things are you planning on changing? I saw Bobby Wood Jr.'s comments to Andy Rodgers saying, this better fuel us and make us not be okay with just a winning season, or getting to the playoffs once, but bigger and better things. And so I'm curious kind of if they're viewing their season this way, because that does feel like the correct approach.
So Q and Picollo at 11 o'clock today. Nate Taylor and the 1 o'clock hour, our Chiefs insider from ESPN, will be good to get his perspective in studio. We'll also be keeping an eye on baseball today. Postseason baseball does begin. We were kind of reminiscing in the bullpen before the show. Dusty was out there as well. We were saying, man, like a year ago, we were getting ready to go out to Jefferson's. We were doing the watch party, and those were good times. Playoff baseball is fun, and it's a bummer that obviously we will not have that in Kansas City this year. But we'll be keeping an eye on 4 baseball games today, man. We'll get these wild card games underway in the AL and the NL a little bit later on. I think the first game starts at noon, right? It's the 2 AL Central teams, the Guardians and the Tigers. The AL Central champion Guardians, after all that. They're the first game today. So we'll make sure we're watching that throughout the show as well. You guys can interact with us on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. And, of course, video stream will be up and running as well. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the shows here.
Somebody on the text line was already asking if our VinFL insider, Vinny Pasquantino, was returning this week. Typically Tuesdays is when he had been on before. Vinny, as a consummate professional, wanted a full week of uninterrupted football watching that baseball doesn't get in the way of.
Sure.
Before returning is our NFL insider. He'll be back next Tuesday.
Perfect. NFL insider segment will start back up next week. Yeah, looking forward to that. Someone saying Cody better clean his chair after Dusty's take on Jackson Dart's mom. I have no idea what. Also, I sit in Dusty's seat.
You sit in Dusty's chair. I was about to say they got it wrong.
I mean, there are plenty of stains on this chair, but I'm pretty sure these are months and months ago. I don't know what to say about that.
Probably just Binkley's dip.
People are saying I should have cleaned the chair after you sat in it. I don't know. They said something.
Semen.
A little strong.
I was excited that the playoffs start in baseball.
No, someone said you said something about Jackson Dart and his mom.
Have you seen her?
No.
You haven't seen Jackson Dart's mom?
Seriously, no, seriously.
She's in black leather pants rooting on her son this past weekend.
I
believe she's single.
Oh, is she?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'd change my name to Dart and just be Dusty Dart, the stepdad. Can you imagine?
Dusty Dart.
Does sound like a stepdad.
You thought Dirk Diggler was a name. What do you get Dusty Dart?
You got to pick up smoking if your name's Dusty Dart.
Oh, I'd smoke. I'd even have like the Jackson Dart eye black on my eye at every game.
And by the way, nothing like unfiltered Marlboro 100s. I mean, like,
you ever had an unfiltered Lucky Strike?
I mean, it's got to be like an old school cigarette.
You take one hit of a Lucky Strike, you have toes like Deion Sanders, man.
Jeez.
So
maybe Joe Burrow too. Maybe his toes as well. I don't know the way things are trending for his career, right, Drew? Anyway, let's get started.
I didn't bring him up.
I'm just saying. Yeah, he's already bailed on Jake Browning and the Bengals. He doesn't want to talk about that.
That's crazy because 2 weeks ago,
anyway,
Drew and I were getting an argument about where he was
playing. We'll get there later on in the year in the show as well. And later on in the year, we'll get to his Hooters outfit, which is inevitably going to happen. I'm very confident in that now. Let's talk about the aggressiveness from Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. We saw yet again, Cody, on Sunday on a 4th and 2 from the Ravens' 45-yard line. Now, this was on the Ravens side of the field, so it's not as aggressive as the one he had against Philly on his own, 35 outside of halftime, where the Chiefs came up short. But this is now another week in which they were willing to be aggressive in a particular spot. It ended up being a pass to Worthy, and then they also went for it again on 4th down on the second drive. So multiple times in the game, and I'm wondering, will this keep up if the offense actually does show that it's back fully? Or they back off and say, oh, well, now we know we can move the ball? Because before we thought they were just being more aggressive this year because they knew that, hey, not many opportunities to get this thing going.
I got to say, this is one of those that I am borderline pleading with them to make the obvious choice here, which is stay aggressive forever. Please, I'm begging you, continue to stay aggressive. Because what I've noticed about this team in particular, Gold, is they're good at it. And I think sometimes it's year to year. You want to know the truth. The Chiefs are good at it. They're good at being aggressive. They're good at getting it on 4th down. But so far this year, of the opponents they've played, it appears to be opponent dependent. They were not aggressive against the Giants. They just laid back and said, you stop them. I don't care. What are we going to do? Go for it on 4th down? I don't think so. Versus the Ravens game, Gold, even before it appeared that the game was out of control and the Chiefs had run away with it or anything like that. They were going for it on fourth down multiple times. Each of the first 2 drives, as a matter of fact, Gold, went for it on fourth down, converted both, knew they had to score, and this was before they knew their offense had fully hit stride in that game. This is because they knew the difficulty of the opponent. They're good at it, so just continue to stay aggressive. And I think you and I both know that the second, in a weird way, the second the offense started playing really well in the second half, I'm like, damn it, they're going to stop doing that. And it's not what I want. I think that they can be the best of both worlds. And when you have Mahomes, I don't know how to convince Andy Reid that this is who you should be. This year, it doesn't have to be year to year. You don't have to make it your whole mentality forever. But this year, this is the right team to push those buttons with. And because you're already showing success with it and the teams believe you can do it, stick with it and force these teams to be equally aggressive back.
We're not going to know for another month, really, if in fact
not.
that this is what they're going to do. Remember, there's part of me that agrees with what we're saying on the overall theme, which is if they believe the offense is back, they're going to do it less, which you could argue shouldn't be the case. There's also part of me that wonders the way Andy Reid answered that question a week or so ago when he was asked, hey, are you guys being more aggressive this year? And Andy's like, no, we always are aggressive. And we pull up the numbers and it's just not true. They have converted very well over the years on fourth down, but the idea that they've gone for fourth down as much as anybody is just not true. So maybe it truly is an organizational shift and he just doesn't want to make it a big deal.
But again, to this point in his career, he's been 23rd under Patrick Mahomes in attempts. Yeah. So they just don't go for it very often.
In the NFL, when it comes to stuff like that, there's no secrets. There's eventually, as you get further in the season, if you become one of the teams that is ultra aggressive on fourth downs, and everybody in the league knows that the Lions are going for just about every fourth down possible. Dan
Eagles
Campbell,
too, if it's within
there's no secret. So if we get a month in the season and the Chiefs suddenly are in the top 5 or top 10 of attempts, let's say, on fourth downs and aggressiveness, then everybody else, every other team will know that already. So that's why I don't get the point of trying to keep it a secret or intentionally not say, yeah, you know what, we are being more aggressive this year.
To this point, his whole stance has been, we're always this aggressive, which you and I know to just not statistically be correct, and that they are aggressive. I felt like they always used to save it Gold for they would be their most aggressive. We talk about this in individual years. They would be individually aggressive depending on the game and as the season went on. So if we got to an AFC championship game and it was 4th and 1 on their own 39, they'd go for that one. They'd push they'd move the needle. But because you're behind, you're 2-2, you're 2 full games behind the Bills. I think they're getting to 14 wins. If you're thinking 1 seed, the division's more at risk than it's been in multiple years. You're only game back, but it's more at risk, admittedly, and it's going to go later into the season. Well, then take some better chances at getting some of these wins. And those aggressive plays is why they ended up scoring Gold on every single, borderline scored on almost every single possession against the Ravens. I know it didn't work out exactly that way, but it was pretty damn close. Had they punted on either of those, they get no points. Not just the 3 they ended up settling for as they got deeper in the drive. Those are no-point drives without the aggressiveness. Does that game go different if it's 7-0 and then you have to reinvent and then the offense has to come together? Probably a lot closer, probably stylistically significantly different. You made a note early in the game to convince people to do it. I just stick with it is all I'm asking, Andy.
I think it's a fair point, too, from someone on the text lines from the 816. It says, hey, what about the aggressiveness on fourth downs correlating to how the defense is playing as well? Well, if we think this defense, and I think we both do.
My argument's always been you should be more aggressive.
If they're going to be an elite defense, you should lean on them more. They usually view it the opposite way.
Yeah.
In this, with how they operate, which is, no, we'll punt the ball back. We trust our defense. We don't need to give them a short field. We trust that making a team drive 75 yards, 80 yards against this defense is not going to happen kind of thing. That's just how they've always operated. So I don't think they view it as, oh, we'll go for it because we trust our defense. They view it as we trust our defense, so we'll punt it.
Yeah.
Usually.
I think that's backwards way of thinking. And I know that, based historically, you're right, that is how the Chiefs think. Doesn't it make more sense that you're like, well, my defense can still get a stop. They'll still keep us in the game. Let's take chances.
Their thought is,
take chances.
I think their thought is, hey, 80 yards on the defense versus going 45 yards on the defense. We think they can't go 80 kind of thing. I'm guessing that's the thought process.
I know, but the couple of times they've come up short, they stopped it to a field goal in the first. Remember when they went, it was on their own 35 against the Eagles or whatever.
Right
they came
after
up, and they came up short, but they held them to a field goal, and the Chiefs were still decidedly in the football game. Had they gotten it, though, and this is the advantage, it did not really, statistically, in my opinion, hurt their odds of winning that game anymore. They were still going to have to do the things they did later in the game to stay in it. Had they gotten that, the chances of them winning that game feel significantly better than at any other point. And I know that this is a tough one because for the same reason Mahomes doesn't typically run the way he did in those first 2 games until it gets later in the season. They don't like taking those chances. Or maybe they don't like putting those things on paper for people to see until they get later in the season. But I also just feel like the season's off to a weird start. So unless you win your next 8 games in a row and you're 10-2, and all of a sudden the 1 seed looks like it's at play and you're just going to try to grind out wins on your way to the 1 seed. Again, I already think the 1 seed is the Bills. Maybe it's not 100%. I wouldn't rule out the Chiefs entirely, but I mean, it looks like it's the Bills to get by a mile at the moment. The schedule's way easier. The division's way easier. They're to have a 2-game lead on you for the standings in that. It just feels like a good year to be aggressive, especially because of the speed, too. We're not even talking about the Worthy, Rice, like the weapons part of it that makes sense to me. Athletic linemen, so you can like get out in space, all that stuff.
Yeah, someone says you guys are missing the biggest part of this. It's Harrison Butker. He's going to force him to go for more. We had that conversation yesterday, how they should. I don't think they're doing that.
That's another part.
But that was exactly the conversation we had yesterday. Harrison Butker's not going anywhere, but you have to approach things differently, knowing that for him, the 56-yarder's not as sure thing. And by the way, last night, for those saying that, like, hey, 56-yarders, you can't be critical of those, and we went through and we talked about the other misses. I just saw a 40-year-old kicker make a career-long 59-yarder last night for the New York Jets. So
everybody's making
long kicks these days.
I actually looked it up because we had the conversation and we were past it, so I didn't want to do it. This is my point. Like, if it's 4th and 1 and 55 yards out, go for it. Don't kick a 55-yarder with Harrison Butker. I looked it up because people are like, well, it's 56 yards. It can't be that much. Just so you know, this goes back to the same thing for what he's paid and how you should treat him. There are 15 kickers with a better field goal percentage of 50-plus yards than Harrison Butker this year. There were 13 last year. So, like, not that we needed to know that to reassure you, but just in the pantheon of people who kick 50-yarders, he's average. So, like, it's something they should consider as it points to their aggressiveness, yes.
I don't think it matters the kicker. If it's 4th and 1 in your own plus territory, you have Patrick Mahomes. Go for it every single solitary time.
Not
Forget kicking the field goal. I don't care who the kicker is.
I agree. They just haven't done it. I totally am with you. This goes back to the whole QB sneak convo, Drew. I'm totally on your side on that.
I would not even run the ball. You let him throw the ball. He's the best quarterback on the planet, or he's supposed to be.
Honestly,
let him throw the football.
Oh, I agree, because
let
he
him
might
throw
be,
the football,
he might
Andy.
get it with his legs, too.
Yeah,
let him
throw
back.
the football.
Yeah, I agree with that. Always let him drop back.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Creed Humphrey, Chiefs offensive lineman, going to join us. We'll talk about, obviously, the first 4 weeks of the season and look ahead a little bit to the game on Monday Night Football when the Chiefs head down to Jacksonville. Also, a reminder, again, 11 o'clock, JJ Picollo, Matt Quattrero will speak live to wrap up the season. Thinking of the Royals, everybody has kind of their off-season wish list. Maybe it's signing somebody, maybe it's an organizational change, whatever it may be. You guys can text in a few. I've got 3. Cody, you've got a couple as well. We'll try to narrow it down to 3 each for what we would like to see the rest of this offseason, or the beginning of this offseason, I should say, for Kansas City. I think for me, I've been on this all year. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's number 1 on the list, but I feel like most of the personnel is going to be the same, so maybe this is number 1. I think there has to be a shakeup with the hitting staff. We stopped talking about it once it became apparent they weren't going to do anything in season, so there was no point in me bringing it up every single week again. But you know my feeling on Alex Zumwalt and others in the hitting staff. I don't know how you can have the offensive season that you had up until the final 2 months and not make a change there. Last year, even when they made the playoffs, the offense was average. The year before, the offense was bad. It's not like you've ever seen out of this current hitting staff an offense that's towards the top half of the league anyway. So to me, you've got the players, for the most part, the core that you're going to have. You just had a season where, you did have multiple players with 30 home runs, 100 RBI. You say, well, what's wrong with hitting? Yeah, but it's the other guys, not the star players. Like, not to downgrade what anybody has adjusted and turned into a player into. I think they get credit for Michael Garcia's development, no doubt about that. But after that, there has to be more success at developing hitters within the organization. Carter Jensen hopefully can change a lot of that. Jack Caglione, we're going to see next season. But it's been a while since a player, in my opinion, a top prospect has come up other than Bobby Wood Jr., where you felt like, all right, there was true adjustment from the hitting staff when a player maybe is struggling. Some of the free agent signings as well. So to me, number 1 on the list is adjusting the hitting staff, whether that means moving on from Zumwalt or others.
I think adjusting the lineup is more where I'm at. If they decided to make those moves, I'm not here to like, hey, whoa, slow down. No, it's fine. I would understand the change of the hitting staff. I want them to reevaluate their order. And I know that sounds overly simple, but it's what bat do you need to make it a qualified lineup 1 through 7 in the attempt to avoid these lulls that the team has had each of the last 2 years where the offense just disappears. So, like, these two go hand in hand. I want them to rework the order, but that also means part 2 for me is you're going to have to get a bat that gets on base, and it's going to have to be probably at that left field position. But if you told me it was a super utility guy, if you told me it was, I would borderline sign Adam Frazier on my offseason wish list. And I know
amazing how things
that.
have changed. Now multiple
He's
people
like a
are
versatile player.
Everybody
who can get
was-
on, like he does a good job.
Everybody's freaking out about Cam Devaney getting traded, and now everybody's on board. They want Adam Frazier re-signed. What a difference a couple months makes.
I just want a qualified, veteran bat. And they were significantly more consistent on offense once they had a guy at the bottom of the order that didn't do that. That did get on base. They did give qualified major league bats. So re-sign Adam Frazier, and then I would say rework your order. The third thing I would do is fairly simple, which is I'd trade a starting pitcher to improve the lineup. Like, that's where I'm improving the lineup. I'm trading away one of those guys.
Yeah, that's on the list as well for me. Vern kind of scared me a little bit when we talked to him last week that he doesn't feel like maybe necessarily they're going to be able to do much more than finding a platoon player. I still think they need to utilize the depth with the starting pitching with guys that have control, that you can actually get a legit outfield bat to help not only with the lineup, but also defensively as well, an everyday player. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that would be on my list. And then the last one, it's another staff-related one, and this sounds simple. You have to do whatever it takes financially as an organization to make sure that Brian Sweeney is still with this Royals organization. I don't know what he makes currently. All I know is the number needs to be higher because somebody else is going to come and try to poach him. And so
whatever he wants,
whatever that dollar amount is, it needs to be bumped up. You cannot afford to lose somebody like Brian Sweeney on this coaching staff and what he's been able to do with this rotation and multiple pitchers, whether they were homegrown guys once they got to the big league level or obviously trade acquisitions and maybe a tweak here or there. I think he's been outstanding. So 2 coaching staff related ones for me. One is making sure you retain somebody, and the other is moving on from somebody.
No, I get the part of Brian Sweeney, which you're talking about adding. Which of the pitchers would you trade? Just out of curiosity.
I think it needs to be Noah Cameron. Not that I don't like the guy at all. I think it's the years of control.
The local kid. No,
well, it's because to me he brings back more than most of these other guys because of the control that he has.
So when you look at the offseason comments, they pretty much hinted at the idea that the people you would expect would be anchoring the rotation, as in it would most likely be the guys that you would think. It'd be Cole Reagans, Chris Bubich, and Michael Wacha, as in, those guys aren't likely to go anywhere. If you listen to the comments they've made so far this offseason, not saying that they have to stick with every part of that. And again, we'll hear from them at 11 o'clock. But if those are the guys, well, then you have to make the decision between Kolek, Cameron, Bergert, Avila, and Lugo. Lugo will be in there too. I don't think you can trade Bubich, which means I think you can only trade Bergert, Falter, Bubich, or maybe Bubich, right? Let's put him at least on the list, and Cameron. And of those guys, look at how little they had to give up to get Bergert and Kolek. Do you think that there's people banging down the door for those guys just yet? The Royals have worked miracles with them, but I don't think their value is inherently changed across all of baseball in a month of watching them. It really only leaves you 2 guys. In my opinion, or 3. It is the Chris Bubich, if somebody will give you something, but it's limited and you're just making a decision to move on from him, even though I don't think you're getting maximum value. Noah Cameron, the person with all the inherent value in the world.
That's the reason why he's the answer to me, is
young,
because of value.
And you've never seen him fail, so everyone in the league will think it's work. Or the big swing, which is you could trade Cole Reagans.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting as much as you think for Cole Reagans.
Which is, I'm just saying.
I know he looked good in his last 2, which was a great sign, and maybe gives you some more versatility there. But I think Noah Cameron brings back the biggest haul. Sometimes you have to trade someone that people don't want to lose in order to go and acquire something that helps you long-term with an issue that was glaring in 2025, and that is, of course, another outfield bat. Unless you're just going to roll the basically.
It better be an everyday starter.
Unless you're going to virtually roll the same team out there, and you're basically just hoping, as we've gone through, you're hoping that, obviously you're confident Bobby will still be Bobby. Okay, that's realistic. Nobody's doubting that. Vinny, sure, I don't doubt that. You're hoping Michael Garcia can do exactly what he did this year. Maybe he can. I hope he can. You're hoping that Salvador Perez, while Father Time, every year everybody's been waiting for it to catch up. It hasn't. So we just assume, it'll never happen. I think that's a risky proposition as well.
Oh, it's risky.
Then you're banking on I know bullpen you can find pieces, but is Carlos Estevez going to lead the major leagues in saves again next year? Probably not. He had 42. That was the only bold prediction I got right, by the way, this season. Everything else was wrong. I don't know if you're
I
going
had
to...
Michael Massey at 25 homers. He was really good, by the way, since coming off the IL, but short tenure.
So you're banking a lot of the negative stuff getting better and the positive stuff staying the same. I think that's very risky, which is why I think they have to go out and trade for an outfielder.
Specifically, they need a right-handed hitting outfielder. I mean, let's just be honest with their current lineup construction. The other part, and this is what the scariest part about the Royals is, they are pretty much spending an offseason saying, we are banking on, or have to bank on, Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione getting a lot better. That's it.
And it can happen, but it's definitely not a sure thing.
And Carter Jensen was really good. Actually, you're just counting on Carter Jensen being what he's shown so far in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's like 19 games.
And I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And Jack, it's the same as getting better. And Jack Caglione being a lot better. So it is definitely tough. We'll hear from the Royals, J.J. Picollo, Matt Quatraro coming up in a few minutes. Again, Creed Humphrey coming up at 10:30 as well. But last night, if you thought that there were going to be any questions about trading for a certain player on Miami, well, that's done because Tyreek Hill unfortunately suffered a nasty injury last night. He tore his ACL. He dislocated his kneecap. He tore multiple ligaments in his knee. His season is definitely done, and his career might be in jeopardy.
Tyreek on a Monday night a couple of years ago, maybe was having that monster season. Played against the Titans, had to leave that game, and this is a tough one. And a smile through the disappointment.
Chris Fowler on the call there, ESPN, of course, the doubleheader Monday night game. That was one of those gruesome ones that you always kind of remember. We all like whether it was the Ware kid for Louisville in the Final Four. Like those are injuries that you always kind of remember. Just nasty. You don't need to see the replay again type of injuries. Yeah. With someone like him that depends so much on speed and why he is who he is and why he's been so dominant throughout his career, when you blow up your knee like that, you have to seriously wonder, will he ever be the same? And an injury like that, given his age, next year's obviously in jeopardy as well. And I just wonder if Tyreek Hill will get back to that point again. You're already getting older. When you rely on speed, that's always going to take a hit. And now you're telling me that one of the most electric players literally shredded his knee.
I mean, and like not the kind of injury. It's like, well, maybe he'll be back in a year. A year? No,
I didn't think they were trading for him anyway because we went through the financials. I also think as an organization they've kind of moved on from that. But this ends any of the conversation. Unfortunately, in that regard, nobody wanted it to be because of that reason.
He's 31 years old. He'll be 32 in March, which means a whole nother year. Like if he plays next year at any point, it'll be kind of a miracle, won't it? Considering we're a month into the season and he tore every single possible ligament in his knee, it seems like, and dislocated it. So let's just say next year's a wash. Or at the very least, he's not the same player. So now 33 years old? He's going to make a comeback and be a valuable NFL player at 33 years old. He might be on a roster. But the Tyreek Hill we're used to seeing, I think I'm with you. I don't think you can count on that.
His time in Miami is definitely done. I mean, just by the time he gets to that point in time, somebody will. I mean, if he wants to keep playing, somebody will take a flyer on him because why wouldn't you at that time? But you have to seriously question whether or not that is in play for him moving forward.
Tyreek Hill, just looking at his contract, he will be under contract next year, most likely. Although they could cut him, I guess. His cap hits $51 million. He's $28 million to cut. Usually, you can't cut a player on an injury related thing. You'd have to injury waive him and work through the guarantees. But they could get rid of. But I mean, I don't know. It was one of those injuries last night. It was crazy. It was like joking. The reports were he was making fun of Waddle and Achane.
He was laughing and smiling. That's how he was dealing with the situation.
Yeah, and kind of going through it. But I mean, it was a devastating injury.
All right, coming up next, Creed Humphrey, Chiefs offensive lineman, going to join us. We'll talk about the offense getting going. We'll also discuss some of the things he's got going on in Kansas City. That's coming up here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Creed Humphrey. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I've been telling you guys about my friends over at Shawnee Mission Ford. You know, I've been driving a Ford F-150 for the last 2 months or so. It's a vehicle that I simply love driving around Kansas City, whether it was going over to Lawrence, whether it was going to Arrowhead on Sunday. It doesn't matter. I've told you guys about some of the features, including Blue Cruise. But how about when it comes time to get that oil change in your vehicle? And whether it is a Ford vehicle or not, Shawnee Mission Ford offers mobile service as well. They came by our station a couple weeks ago, and I think they changed like 8 to 10 vehicles oil. It's something that they offer offer for anybody in Kansas City. You can book an appointment with their mobile service at Shawnee Mission Ford. They'll come to your workplace. Maybe you got a bunch of coworkers that just want to have it happen at one particular day and not have to worry about scheduling separate appointments. Maybe you need them just to come to your house as well. You don't have time to go to the dealership or go anywhere else to get your oil changed. They make it super easy for you. It's just one of the things that makes Shawnee Mission Ford great. And if you're looking for a new vehicle, they've had new vehicles. They're going to work with your budget and make it acceptable for anybody that's trying to figure out that next step in their maybe vehicle line of history. Shawnee Mission Ford is who you should go and see to check out a brand new vehicle or one of the 100 pre-owned vehicles they have on the lot as well. Shawnee Mission Ford is on a mission to do more.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Football season in full swing. Underdog, one of the best places to get in on the action, and you can win money in Missouri. It's super easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower than stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and so much more, and get those entries right. And you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. It really is that easy. I love the different versions of games you can play over there. Ladders and streaks, pick'em contests and champions. All of those options available over at Underdog. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
At KCUC, you see the best in KC. With more than 50 expert providers and 20 convenient locations, you get the care you need quickly and close to home. From advanced diagnostics to the latest treatments, KCUC offers cutting-edge technology that sets us apart. It's no wonder we're the region's premier urology and oncology center. You deserve the best. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When your name's on the paint job, your primer better hold up. Painters trust Kills primers for serious adhesion, stain blocking, and a finish that lasts. Now, the full Kills lineup is available exclusively at the Home Depot. Need it fast? Get same day or next day delivery, or order online and pick it up in store. Kills primers, pro results, faster. The Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know.
Paid for by term provider. Premiums will vary. Plans depend on age, location, and other factors. Visit bigloot.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
It's been a bit since we played that on the show. You know, whenever that song gets played, it's because Creed Humphrey's probably about to come on the show.
It makes sense.
And it's been a little while since we had the Chiefs center join us on the program. We go out to the hotline and welcome in Creed Humphrey, who has got some really cool stuff going on in Kansas City, including this Friday through Sunday out at T-Mobile Center, part of Outlaw Days. The Creed's Cruise section is actually sold out for all 3 nights. This is year 3 of partnering with the PBR and the KC Outlaws. Creed, it's good to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So how excited are you for this weekend? We've seen you obviously heavily involved in PBR here for a while.
Yeah, really pumped. You know, this is my 3rd year being involved with the Outlaws, and it's just been super fun to be involved with them. The Outlaw Days are an incredible thing. You know, it's really fun to go watch, and action-packed, just super fun for people of all ages, so it's a blast.
Did you think that when you started in the NFL, you'd be having a Creed section at a PBR event? Is that something you had predicted?
Yeah, no, I can't really say that was on my bingo card. But yeah, no, it's awesome, man. It's a blessing.
Also, they say that couples should have hobbies together, right? Your fiance works in this as well. What has it been like between the two of you to get to do it together?
No, yeah. My girlfriend Anna, she's doing it too, and she's involved with the Outlaws, and she does a great job. You know, she's a lot better at handling the social media stuff than I am, like making videos, things like that. So she helps me out a lot too whenever I'm doing that stuff. But yeah, it's a blast to be able to do stuff with her.
That's my bad. Not trying to jumpstart the relationship to a different level, but with your girlfriend, Creed, and you talk about that kind of stuff that you guys do. When you guys go out socially, is it you let her do all the? This is one person's usually the big personality who wants to be social. One kind of lays back. Are you the lay back type?
Yeah, probably. I'd say I am. Yeah, we work well together, though.
We're talking to Creed Humphrey here on 96.5 The Fan. Obviously, I got to ask you about this offensive performance. I know in the locker room you were talking a little bit about just having fun again. Just what changed for you guys offensively on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was like we said. Just we kind of had fun with it. We played with the swagger. It was good to feel that again. So we just got to continue doing that consistently, and proud of how the guys, practiced throughout the week, prepared for the game, and they showed up ready to play.
It hasn't been, the most streamlined start for Kingsley's start to the NFL, but we were talking yesterday on the show. It seems like the last 2 weeks in particular, that left side of the offensive line for you guys is really starting to figure things out.
Yeah, definitely. It's 2 young guys over there, and both of them have immense talent. So being able to see those guys working together, grow as a pair over there on the left side, and start playing well together and everything. It's awesome to see. And, they both have so much talent. They have so much potential. So it's exciting to see them get to work and get after it.
What's kind of stood out about, I guess, them individually, like for Kingsley in particular, right? He's coming off a tackle and then having to learn guard. He's never played guard. And you've been able to play one position. Is it hard, do you think, in your mind, or you've been impressed by his ability to change tasks, change assignments?
Yeah, definitely. It's really impressive. It's a new position. A lot of people think it's just, offensive line is the same thing. But, when you're playing different spots, there's 5 different spots for a reason. It's 5 different positions. So to see him be able to switch to there and, he's playing really well right now, it's exciting to see.
We did see in the offseason, were you excited? The NFL added Protector of the Year. So you have a chance to win some kind of NFL awards. Before they didn't respect the offensive linemen.
Yeah, hopefully there's another music video that comes out pretty soon to promote it. But
that seems like that's a challenge, perhaps.
No, yeah, it's awesome to see though. Just the big guys getting love. It's a great thing, and I feel like it was long overdue for something like that to come out. So I'm excited about it.
We're talking to Creed Humphrey here on 96.5 The Fan. You know, we had Alex Smith on the show last week, and he was talking about his experience with Andy Reid when in 2015 that team got off to a 1-5 start, and he mentioned just kind of how Andy handled it and the patience and the calmness. Now that you guys are leveled at 2-2, if you could take us back even the last few weeks, just what's it been like, 2 weeks ago compared to maybe the mood and the atmosphere now?
Yeah, I think everybody in the building knew what we can do, what kind of team we can be. It's just a matter of, being able to, put the work in and get to that position. So, it was frustrating at times, being 0-2 and everything, but we knew what we could do. So it was more just staying focused on, the controllables and how we can handle how our approach to the week goes and everything like that. And then things will fall into place. So, everybody stayed calm, everybody stayed relaxed, but everybody stayed focused, which is a good thing.
We were talking yesterday on the show that the kind of the aftermath of also the Sunday Night Football game, and I don't know if you had a chance to catch any of that. Of course, the 40-40 tie with the Cowboys and Packers, and there's been a lot of conversation anytime that happens. Hey, should we have ties? Where are you at as a player? You've played competitive football your whole life, so what have you ever had a tie?
I'm trying to think if I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had a tie. No, preseason games I think we've tied before.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you make? Like, do you think that should be a thing, or should it? Hey, no, someone's got to win this thing.
Yeah, I'm a competitor, so I'd like to see a win and a loss, not a tie. But I understand reasons for it and stuff. So for me, I'm indifferent about it. But yeah.
Back to the offseason a little bit. One of the big storylines, obviously, was whether or not they were going to get something done with Trey. We know that you guys are really good friends. That doesn't seem to be a secret. You guys are very, very close. Was it hard trying to stay on the outside, being like, I hope they sign Trey back, knowing that, the risk of losing a very good friend would be different? Because in the NFL, players move, but at the same time, you guys seem closer than average, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it was, I want what's best for Trey. So, I was just letting the process play out. We stayed in touch. We talked throughout and everything. But for me, it was, I was rooting for Trey, and whatever the best thing happened for him would happen. So, I'm very happy we've got it being done in Kansas City, and he's going to be here for a while. It's a blast playing beside him.
I like to think it's like a sitcom. Do you guys have houses next to each other where the yards connect, or are you guys thinking about that next?
No, not that. We're close though. Yeah.
One of your teammates, Isaiah Pacheco, during training camp, told us, he was down in Puerto Rico at a Bad Bunny concert, and they did the jersey swap and everything. Bad Bunny, of course, named the halftime performer, hopefully in a game and a performance that you can't even watch because you guys will be in the locker room, hopefully. But do you listen to Bad Bunny? What do you make of that news?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of his songs. I know he's extremely popular, so. Yeah, for me, it's pretty cool, I guess. But, I know a lot of people like him, so I'm sure it was a good fit.
Who's your dream artist? What kind of do you listen to? If you could have anybody play a Super Bowl halftime for you, who is it?
I feel like we'd have to go with Creed, Creed would have to be.
Fair enough.
It makes the most sense for you, admittedly.
Yeah.
When you look at, where the team, now going forward, Andy always says – we're game to game, we're week by week. Is it hard sometimes to not standing check or keep an eye on the things when you feel like maybe you're chasing people in the division or chasing people at the top of the AFC when you haven't been behind that in a long time, it seems like?
Yeah, for us, it's just staying focused on the task of, the present. So just focusing on the game that week and handling your business then. And if you do that, things will usually fall into place.
Creed, you told us about Outlaw Days, which is coming up this week, and you also have a pretty cool event going on at Boulevard Brewing, the Tailgate Gala next month.
Yeah, definitely. I've been working with Boulevard for a few years now, and it's been a dream, partnership with them. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're doing a gala coming up later this month to benefit with the harvesters to help fight hunger.
Yeah, whole campaign, Creed of the Crop, Tailgate Gala, October 21st over at Boulevard Brewing. I know you guys will have the raffle, meet and greet, barbecue buffet, of course, beer, and people can go to harvesters.org as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're really excited about it. It's always a great event, so we're excited about it.
Creed, we really appreciate the time. So wait, just one last question on the Protector of the Year. Are you already working on a music video, or are you requesting we make one for you?
I can't say I'm working on a music video. No, I'm not. But hopefully someone out there is.
There you go. There you go. Now everybody knows. Creed, appreciate it, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much.
There you go. That's Creed Humphrey, Chiefs center, joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. He's got two really cool events going on. The Tailgate Gala, as we mentioned, over at Boulevard on the 21st, and then Outlaw Days this weekend through Sunday. So Friday through Sunday out at T-Mobile Center. He's got his Creed's Crew section. It's already sold out for all three nights as well. They're partnering with the Outlaws. He's going to be out there with some of the teammates there on Saturday night.
You have to admit, Creed Humphrey feels like a great fit for Outlaw Days and PBR. Like, he's the right spokesperson for it. They chose the correct person.
No, it's a perfect
to go out
fit.
there.
Text line's giving you a hard time.
I know.
Text
I'm trying
line's
to
giving you.
I thought
Drew had a giant smile on his face at the time.
There's so many people who proposed in Kansas City between Kansas City. The second he said girlfriend, I went,
no, Cody, no.
There'd been so many proposals from Kansas City athletes because they're all like young at the same time together, a lot of the Royals and Chiefs, and I thought, oh, they're engaged, certainly.
Whoops.
I said my bad. That's my bad.
It happens.
Look, we weren't like at we weren't at a dinner together and I said fiance in front of her.
No, you're just
Maybe she wasn't listening.
You were just on the radio in Kansas City. No big deal.
Surely she wasn't listening,
Yeah, I'm just going to assume she wasn't listening.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, there you go.
Otherwise,
I'll tell you right now, if they announce an engagement in the next week, I am going to feel very responsible for that somehow. Like, that is definitely my fault somehow.
My goodness.
Wow. My bad. Really looking forward to those things.
Yeah.
Obviously, Boulevard and Creed and all that stuff is a great fit as well. Plus, Harvesters is a great local place.
Of course. Yeah, no, really cool event coming up next month there at Boulevard Brewing. Coming up in about 20 minutes, JJ Picollo, Royals general manager, also Royals manager Matt Quatrero will be addressing the media live here on 96.5 The Fan. They'll kind of wrap up the 2025 season and answer questions, of course, heading into the offseason. We'll see if some of the questions we were mentioning and solutions and everything like that get at least addressed. Doesn't mean we're going to find out the entire offseason plan today, but you get the point. We'll see if any changes are expected with staff and over the next couple of days. I believe yesterday they kind of had their exit interview stuff, the typical exit interviews of the season wrapped up before the guys all head back to their respective hometowns and whatever their offseason is going to look like.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting offseason ahead for them.
That music also means college football.
I mean, if it's a drum line,
it's college football discussion time.
Fits,
It was a unreal slate this past weekend. It lived up to the hype. We said the Heisman race was wide open. Drew, where are we at now?
The Heisman race currently has Dante Moore at the top, as it should. I think he's the favorite in every single book, no matter which one you use. But he should be the favorite and probably the foreseeable favorite for the rest of the season. I mean, if he plays the way that he did on Saturday night against Penn State, he's probably going to come away with the trophy. Might even potentially go number one overall in the draft.
Happy Valley took him down. And also, Penn State was lucky to be in that game.
He was poised. I thought, the noise did not get to him at all whatsoever.
True.
I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, no picks, 29 of 39, 250 yards, also ran for 35. He didn't seem like the moment was too big for him in what, to this point, was the biggest game of the season for Oregon. So, I mean, he looks like the goods, and he was one of the quarterbacks, the many ones, mind you, where we were like, well, we don't know exactly what we're getting in Dante Moore. Highly touted recruit, bounced around to a couple different places. Now he lands at Oregon, a good spot to be, and he is tearing things up.
I'm convinced that every quarterback in college football is better at their second or third stop than they are at the original. It just feels like every quarterback I see having a great year for a college football program is on his second or third stop.
In fairness, he was at UCLA, so a lot of people are wanting to leave there.
Sure, but I'm just saying
that program's a mess. That is a mess. Yeah, I mean, I still think the Heisman race
you're right, Cody, 100%.
I still think the Heisman race is wide open. Like, I'm not convinced now it's Dante Moore's to lose. I mean, he definitely has other big time matchups coming up. I think let's not forget what Simpson did for Alabama, right?
I think Ty's doing very well.
That was an impressive win for them as well. They got a huge game this weekend against Vandy. But yeah, it was an awesome college football weekend. Elsewhere, what about what's happening with Alabama more? I know you were tweeting a little bit about that.
I was gonna say, you guys mentioned Ty Simpson. I think a lot of people were disrespectful a little bit of Kalen DeBoer, like, well, he's not a good coach. It's a must win. The game was on the road in Athens. Like, if they lost the game, if it was 24-21 and they lost the game to Georgia, he's not getting fired, and nobody should be mad about that because it was between the hedges against a top 5 team. Instead, they won the game. They were in control basically for the entirety of it. Obviously, Ty Simpson is the goods, but Kalen DeBoer is showing that the team is good. They got Ryan Williams fully healthy, which is good for them going into this game against Vandy, who looked good, and then obviously the foreseeable future with them playing Mizzou and then so on and so forth. I just think that people jump the gun, and I think we do that a lot, and myself included, of course, in sports where, well, this guy's not good enough. If he has to win this game, otherwise he's gone. I think we jump to that conclusion a little bit too quickly sometimes.
I understand, but like at the same time, had he lost that one, I would have just assumed Alabama was a 3 or 4 loss team again. And you can't go 9-4 and 9-4 in your 2 years at Alabama. They do not. They, especially being the coach who comes after like the greatness part of it, that was never going to be acceptable. 9-4 can be fine if you're coming off of like a down year for Alabama or a couple of down years for Alabama. But he was coming off the single greatest coach of all time. That just doesn't help anything. And so, like, he was always going to be a little bit at risk. That was a big win for him.
Yeah,
that was a big safety win for him. I didn't think he was close to getting fired, but they were going to start questioning it.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, especially because you have the expectation. I mean, because the SEC is so good. I don't know if there's anybody that only has one loss this year. I know there's some undefeated teams still, but by the end of it, it might be just a bunch of 10-2s or 9-3s.
And then Georgia now. I mean, Kirby Smart with Alabama, whatever. For what I mean, that was the only, because of the weird scheduling. That was the first time Kirby Smart even had a chance to get a home win against Alabama. They've always played either in Georgia or in the college football playoff.
That's crazy.
It was weird, and so but Alabama's always been kind of the issue for him.
And now that they don't have divisions, of course, it makes it a little bit easier in terms of how things shake out with the schedule. And then there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and I think it's really
natty though, so that helps him.
Ironically, over Alabama also. I think this is really good for college football. If you're not paying attention to it enough, and maybe Bink and I are just sickos, but the group of 6 is very, very good. We've seen multiple upsets from group of 6 teams over whether it's SEC or Big Ten or ACC teams. It's really good for college football. The group of 6 is better than it's ever been. You can make a case for 5 or 6 or 7 teams to make the college football playoff based on how well they're playing in their respective conferences.
Are any of them ranked yet? Are any of the group of 6 teams ranked?
They've been in and out.
Okay.
Not currently. South Florida was. They're getting votes still. Memphis is getting votes. North Texas is getting votes, and UNLV is as well.
That's a good group, yeah.
And then Memphis, of course, getting a big win over Arkansas, I think it was. Or
they did, but Arkansas stinks.
Arkansas fired their coach right after the game. And
Arkansas should ironically hire Ryan Silverfield. Why not hire the guy that beat you? But yeah, I think that there's also a lot of hot coaching commodities in Group of 6.
How did we do an entire college football thing? And you mentioned Arkansas. We didn't mention the fact that Bobby Petrino is back coaching Arkansas right now.
Yes, that Bobby Petrino.
What is the? I'm trying to think about. Would that be like if Romeo Crennel was coaching the Chiefs again next year? And look, Petrino had success, so it can't be that. But it's got to be somebody who had success and then left in disgrace. And then
that's why there is no comp.
That is college football in a nutshell, though. I think that there's a lot like
normally they get a job somewhere else. They don't get a job at the university they left in disgrace. It doesn't usually work that way.
And there's not a comp.
It'd be like Art Briles being back at Baylor.
Yeah, there's not a Yeah, the Romeo comp doesn't work because he didn't leave in disgrace. He just didn't coach well. He didn't win enough games. The Petrino one with the whole, I mean, it's an all-time press conference photo that still lives on to this day with the neck brace and everything. It's an all-timer. And then he fired multiple people on staff.
Yeah, he started canning.
I think that's.
I'm surprised they gave the interim head coach enough power to start firing guys that presume he just didn't like on the staff.
I'm very surprised. It is interesting.
He had a lot of problems with you people and just starts walking door to door.
We now have 4 major college football firings then in terms of Virginia Tech, UCLA, Arkansas, and then Oklahoma State as well. I mean, there's some bigger time openings. Of course, UCLA.
What's the best job for you?
Out of all of those, it was Virginia Tech, but I think Arkansas might be better just because
money.
Yeah, Oklahoma State was having NIL money issues.
Arkansas's got that money.
Yeah. That plus, obviously with Jerry Jones, they have some. But I think
SEC.
also being in the SEC too, and then Virginia Tech probably 2, Oklahoma State 3, and the UCLA a very distant 4. I'm telling you, there are better jobs in the group of 6 than going to coach at UCLA.
How did UCLA fall so far off in the athletic?
They have money problems. They have no boosters. Their investment is really
Big Ten's a disaster
terrible.
for them. It's a disaster for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Mick Cronin, who's still coaching there, by the way, has been very vocal at how much help they're not giving at the university. Like he's been very vocal in how
he's going to be leaving soon.
Yeah, I think if he could, he would absolutely go somewhere else. He's probably making enough money where he's like, you know what, I guess I can put up with it.
Someone says Bobby Petrino is coached for a second time at all 3 colleges. He previously
Svengali, man, he can talk his way right back into a building. But again, he had a neck brace on. The way he left at Arkansas is decidedly different.
Motorcycle accident with
I think you're right.
Undergrad or whatever.
It would be similar.
Secretary, yeah.
I think you're right. It would be a comp would be if Art Briles found a way back to Baylor somehow as an assistant. I think
and then eventually became the head coach and started firing people.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I understand that Arkansas is Walmart money as well with the Waltons, but Jerry Jones also
Tyson Foods too.
Jerry Jones has some pretty good, has some pretty heavy pockets as well. Let's not act like Jerry Jones is not.
Oh no, but just
there as well.
between Walmart, Tyson Foods, and Jerry Jones, Arkansas, there's plenty of money there to go make it happen and have success. It's why Coach Cal is the basketball coach now.
Yeah,
as well. I mean, it was all money. I think Tyson in particular was why the.
It's just tough if you're Arkansas though. It's just difficult. Like it's just being a part of the conference where Arkansas at its peak was 9-3 or maybe 10-2.
They should be much
when
better.
They had Darren McFadden.
They should be much better.
At least more competitive for sure.
They should at least be at the Missouri level of the SEC. You're a competitive team. You win a lot of games. You go to bowl games, and in your best years, where the schedule is favorable to you, you have a chance to go to the college football playoff. Arkansas has been nowhere near that for the last few years.
Sports Talk on 96.5 The Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We are about 10 minutes away from heading out to Kaufman, hearing from Matt Quatrero and JJ Picollo as they wrap up the 2025 season, look ahead to the offseason as well. But Travis Kelce kind of goes with the Xavier Worthy convo yesterday. He had his best game of the season. I know he had the touchdown in week 1, but this was his best game.
Yeah, it was. And I went back and asked a couple of people at the time, like, what they were seeing defensively against teams. Like, because I'm not going to go through and grind the L22. Let's be honest with you. I'm not going to do that. So I made somebody else look at it and just tell me what they see. But in asking a couple of people who look at the tape in that way, Travis Kelce, despite the fact what people say about him nationally and publicly is that the man is washed, is he was still being essentially double team and bracketed by every single team in football for the first 3 games because he was their only weapon that they truly feared. Not that Thornton didn't get some catches or Hollywood didn't get some catches. They didn't fear him the way they fear what Travis Kelce could do to the offense and keep the Chiefs on the field and everything else in between. The second Xavier Worthy showed up, Travis Kelce looked better. I still think there's life in this Travis Kelce season, as in like real juice as a solid 2 or 3 option where he gets 5 catches for 65 yards
just can't be the
and
guy
a score
anymore.
in multiple games. No, it's fine. That was when he was 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards. I still think there's a 50-yard, 60-yard per game player in there for the rest of the way, and it's about to get a whole hell of a lot easier
Well,
for Travis Kelce.
if you're a defense in about a month, you got to worry about Rice, Worthy, hopefully Brown as well, Thornton,
way before
Kelce.
you worry about Travis.
Like you start seeing like, where are you going to go? Somebody's going to have a great opportunity to have a big day and find some space, and maybe I don't think it's going to be the same every week though. You know, like I get you what you're saying on the yards per game average. That might be the case. It might average out that way, but there might be one week where a team thinks they've got the plan, like, hey, we're not going to worry about Travis. We're going to try to shut down Worthy and Rice, and he has a huge day, or or the
you
opposite.
say my balance. Who goes after?
But that's the beautiful thing when you actually have multiple playmakers on the field. It's kind of hard to defend, and when you have also the quarterback that you have, it becomes very difficult for defenses again. And I think we saw a small glimpse of that on Sunday, obviously against a very bad defense. But whether it's against Jacksonville or the first game for Rice back is going to be against the Raiders, they're not the best defense either. Good luck, Raiders. You're defending the offense at that time. Will hopefully have Rice, Worthy, and Kelce, and hopefully Brown.
That might be another
available.
ass kicking like the one we just saw that game.
Yeah, the Raiders are a mess.
Pre-looking at that game 3 weeks from now, although the Chiefs' run defense has shown some cracks a couple of times, and Genty's finally broken out in a single game. But yeah, I think that it's not an accident that Travis Kelce looked his healthiest and his best and his most open the same time Xavier Worthy showed back up.
Up next, we head out to Kaufman. We're going to hear from Matt Quatrero and JJ Picollo and look ahead to the offseason with the Royals next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Having a financial partner who's all in changes everything. It's the difference between hoping for a home and holding the keys, between dreaming about your own business and actually opening the doors, between turning what ifs into what's next. At Community America, we're here for every moment, with financial expertise built around every part of your life. Because when you have a financial partner that's invested in every part of you, you can't help but feel like a star. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
I'm retired, newly retired, so this was my first summer not working again. But I had problems with my shoulder. I mean, it was just like 1,000 needles going into my shoulder.
Mike didn't want surgery. 6 months in a sling was not how he planned to spend retirement. That's when he heard about QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It's a free appointment. And after the first treatment, the next day, I went out and played golf. The pain just wasn't there.
No drugs, no surgery. Just your body's own natural healing power. Orthobiologic concentrated and placed exactly where you need them to go to work.
I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I don't want to take on Mike Tyson, but he'd know I was there.
Now Mike's heading back to QC Kinetics to get his knees treated.
It changed my first summer being retired. It's one I can remember instead of regret.
Get back to doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today to schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Trust, price, and ease of transaction. That's our philosophy at GiveMeTheVin.com. We love to buy cars. Fat ones, skinny ones, curvy ones, fast ones, slow ones, round ones, and square ones. Yes, square body Chevys. We buy them at GiveMeTheVin.com. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com right now, put yours in, and get a quote. We'd love to buy it. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name, and the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro. On them, it's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
with 24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended. Balance due if you pay off earlier or cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Wildcat fans, this is Wyatt Thompson. Tune in all season long to the play-by-play of the 2025 football season, right here on your home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. We're going to head right out to Kaufman as we're going to hear from Royals General Manager J.J. Picollo and Manager Matt Quattrero as they wrap up the 2025 season and look ahead to next year.
And move on from here. So I just want to say that.
Morning.
JJ, would you be able to go through kind of what your priorities are this offseason and what you're looking to, how to improve the roster, how you evaluate, different parts of the season that maybe didn't go the way you wanted it to?
Yeah, I mean, I think the positive we can talk about is pitching. I mean, the pitching was consistent all year, considering all the different injuries we had, the challenges we had. I think in the end we were top 10 starting pitching, top 10 bullpen. So that's quite an accomplishment. Really appreciate the way those pitchers stepped up. Guys that weren't in our organization have done a tremendous job in helping us maintain a chance to win. And then we got to look at, our roster from an offensive standpoint. What are the things we need to do to improve? There's a certain type of game that we need to play, and it's a complete game. It's not just about slug. It's about getting on base. It's about running bases. It's about executing at the right time. We have 4 guys that I thought had exceptional years. Pretty amazing what Salvi's doing, what Bobby's doing. Michael came into his own. And 2 years in a row now, Vinny's had a tremendous year. I mean, he's a performer. So how do we take the other 9 guys and how do we get the most out of them? And there's a lot of different ways. And there's a certain type of game that we need to play until we don't need to play that game. If we're going to score 8 or 9 runs a night because we're hitting, you don't have to play that type of game. But there's other ways to win games, and we got to figure out how to do that.
Just for both of you, how do you evaluate your coaching staff, and do you foresee everybody coming back in 2026?
Yeah, so we've got to, for most of our staff's going to be coming back. We've got to make some decisions on the hitting side. What I will say is Alex Zumwalt's going to be our hitting coach. How do we support Alec in a way that allows him to have the most success with the roster that we have? Those decisions haven't been made yet, and we still have to work through that. It might just be tweaking our staff. How do we tweak the staff? What don't we have? What can we do from an analyst standpoint, from a holistic standpoint to try to help our offense improve? We have a lot of belief in what Alec has done in the minor leagues and how he's led the minor league department now in the major leagues. Guys have gotten better. There are guys that have improved. Mentioned the 4 guys, and I don't think we can ignore that. I think the big criticism this year on the hitting side was runners in scoring position. But if you break down what we did in the second half of this year, it was pretty good. I mean, it was in the top 10 and might have been in some ways in the top 5. And then when I look at the last 2 years, or we look at the last 2 years, 75% of the last 2 years, we've done a good job with situational hitting and scoring runs. So we can't ignore those things. It hurt us in the beginning of the year. So that's why we've got to go look at our processes and how we're going to enhance what we can do and what we're capable of.
As far as the coaching staff, these guys are grinders. It's just they have the same mentality as the players. They put a tremendous amount of preparation, a tremendous amount of work. They care about the players, which is priority number 1 for us. They're not in this in any aspect, whether we're talking about hitting, pitching, catching, whatever area you want to talk about. These guys, their number 1 priority is making the players the best they can be. It's not about their names or promoting themselves. So that to me is really important, and I love coming to work with these guys every day because I know when we show up, it's going to be a consistent attitude, it's going to be a consistent effort, and they're constantly, like JJ said, trying to find ways to get better through the processes.
JJ, you may have sort of answered this in the very question you just answered, but I mean, when you said learn from it, what in particular do you think is going to stand out to you from this season? And I'll have a follow-up from Matt.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to answer that. When we look at how our offense performed last year versus this year, it's very similar in a lot of categories. The only thing we didn't do, which is the most important thing, is score runs. We scored 84 less runs this year than we did last year. But if you look at our slugging percentage, our on-base percentage, our home runs were down 10 or 11, but our doubles were up quite a bit. Overall, as individuals, we were very similar, but why didn't the offense function as a whole? So how do we help that? What can we do? The base running, clearly we made too many unforced errors this year. When we get a guy on second base and there's no outs for a team like our team, we got to score that run. We got to get him over and get him in. The nights that we hit the 3-run homers, they're easy. There's a lot less for him to do when we're hitting 3-run homers. But when we get a guy on second base for the type of game that we need to play, the way our roster's constructed, we have to improve our ability to get those runs in. Be opportunistic when you have a chance to score. Now, that being said, it's easier said than done. This is the same group of players for the most part that did execute last year, and we just didn't do it to the same level in 25.
Matt, just last year, I remember you being really struck by the feeling of how far you went, but not being satisfied, hearing from friends about how much you've done, wanting to go more. What's going to be your overriding feeling coming out of this?
Well, I don't think it's just one feeling. I have a tremendous amount of pride and gratitude for being in this position and being able to lead this team. And a tremendous amount of pride in what we did do as behind the scenes with the coaching staff, the camaraderie, the challenging each other, trying to get better. There's a tremendous amount of pride in that. There's also a tremendous amount of disappointment in the fact that we're not playing because we believe in ourselves. Our internal expectations are extremely high, not only for winning and losing games, but in how we perform, process-wise, decision-making, all those kinds of things. And all of those areas need to be improved. And I think that's one of the things that I really believe in strongly is that there isn't one thing that you hit the button and say, all right, we fix this and now we go on to win 100 games. We have to try to make tiny little incremental improvements in a ton of different areas. And some of those are hard to find because you believe in the process that you've already established. And sometimes it takes a long time to figure out, okay, what is the thing that we have to tweak here, right? And it's not a wholesale change. It's a little thing. It could be the way a message is delivered. Could be the one day that you give the guys that day off their feet because you sense that they need a little blow, whatever it is. There's a million different decisions that go into a baseball season, probably more than a million different decisions that go into a baseball season, and figuring out the right sequence of when those tweaks and adjustments have to be made, that's the challenge. That's the art of it.
JJ, how soon are the conversations being had with Salvador Perez as far as his club option or potential extensions if that is something you guys come to?
Yeah, we've already started those discussions. Obviously, there's an option that we can pick up, so I think it's safe to say that one way or another, Salvi will be in a Royals uniform in 26. What we do beyond that still to be determined, but there are some things we still need to work through and talk about.
You mentioned the offensive performances from a catcher, a third baseman, shortstop, first baseman. When you look at the outfield, do you think getting an improvement there will come internally, or do you think maybe there's a chance you'll bring someone from the outside?
Yeah, I think we got to look at all angles. We brought Cags up this year, expected to get a boost there. He was killing AAA, doing everything he needed to do as a player to get that promotion, and the next step for him was to be in the major leagues. It didn't go as we would have liked it to have gone, but we got to remind ourselves he's one of the best players in baseball. He was probably on his way to being minor league player of the year. There's a strong belief that he's going to be an outstanding major league player. The difficult thing with Cags right now is that he's beat AAA. I mean, even when he went back after his injury, he didn't miss a beat. He's beat AAA. So he's going to have to do a lot of his learning in the major leagues, but it doesn't take away from the upside, the talent, and what he's going to do. That being said, there's going to be competition. We do feel like we're in a window to win. with the players that we have in place. So the expectations are high, our standards are high. So it's not going to be anything, a job that's given to him. He's going to have to earn it. But it doesn't take away from what we believe in him as a player. Kyle Isbell did a really good job this year. He's one of our more improved offensive players, and we know what he can do defensively. And then how do we figure out, what our options are going to be in left field? We saw a little bit of what a platoon can do for us when we had Yaz, who of course is a free agent, and Grichik's a free agent. They both did admirable jobs for us. That might be a way that we go as well. I mean, we're going to get in meetings with our pro scouting staff here in the coming weeks and try to assess what's available. How do we improve the roster? But I know the outfield production's got to be better. We've got to play good defense, but we got to produce as well.
Last year, going in the offseason, you talked about how you wanted to get another bat in the outfield, and it just didn't work out.
Yep.
That same goal, though?
Yeah, I mean, we want to improve the roster any way we can. I mean, that's the more obvious area to try to improve. But yeah, that goal exists again this year.
AJ, when you talk about the hitting staff, the hitting coaching staff, I mean, if you want to improve the lineup but not change that aspect, what does need to change for you guys to be more productive offensively?
Yeah, I think when we look at our coaching staff, you want balance, different skill sets, different abilities that can work well together. It's not to say that these guys don't work well together. They do. They do work well, but we feel like if we're able to maybe tweak it somehow, it might be making a change. It might be adding something. Might be adding another person who has a different skill set. But we spent a lot of time last week on the road talking about these things, and we don't have a clear answer to that just yet. But when we look at how we want to remake staffs, what are we missing? And what can we add, and how can we enhance so the guys that we have can do their job even better? But we know it's not lack of effort, lack of thought, preparation. You talk to every one of our hitters, they firmly believe in what we're doing from an offensive standpoint. I know you all talk to them throughout the year. They're accountable as hitters, and they're not pointing fingers at our coaches. So what can we do to just enhance what they're already capable of doing?
Can you give people a sense? I'm sure it doesn't surprise you when you guys weren't hitting the first half of the season that Alex's name came up a lot. Can you give people a sense of the value that he does bring and what you do see out of the processes that you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, he's a tireless worker, which, as Q said, they all are tireless workers. His creativity, his game planning, his relationship building abilities all really stand out. And when you think about, let's just use Bobby and Michael as examples. When they first set foot in this organization, Alec was our hitting coordinator. He's grown with them throughout the last 6-7 years. For some of those guys, he's the only hitting coach that they've really known, have worked together. So there's a strong trust in what he does and what he brings. So, part of being a good coach is building relationships. If you can't build relationships, then you don't have trust. So Alec, I know, has the trust of our hitters, and he's passionate. And then you talk about going into the other things, game planning, swing mechanics, creativity, desire to win, all those things are there with Alec. He represents it well.
You mentioned in your opener that you guys offensively have to play a certain type of game. Just wonder if you could expand on that. Yeah,
I mean, it's situational baseball. I mean, we're clearly not a team that's going to bang 250 homers a year. That's not who we are. We have Vinny and Salvi that sit in the middle of our lineup. Around that, we need to be athletic in the field, athletic on the bases. We also have to mature as hitters. Certain situations, I don't think we necessarily reacted to the way we should. So how do you put hitters in the right mindset so they can execute? We did have a lot of guys. I think we had 8, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had 8 guys make their debuts this year, a handful of which were hitters. Their first thought is, I got to bang to stay up here. And that's not really what they need to do. They need to do exactly what they did in the minor leagues, and that's execution with the ability to hit. Nobody's going to get here if they can't hit. They got to have the ability to hit, but they also have to have the ability to execute, to work within our offense. We're more of an action type offense. That's what we have to rely on. So running the bases, hitting behind a runner, hitting a sac fly or a ground ball when necessary. We don't strike out. I mean, that's one thing, but we also have to look at that. Is that good or bad? Is that getting us where we want to go? Generally speaking, not striking out's good. But if you're making early outs and weak contact, then we have to adjust that. There may be a little give and take there. But when we think about our identity, pitching, defense, situational hitting, and base running, that's what we take a lot of pride in. We just didn't execute it to that level this year to be in the playoffs. You're a winning record, but not in the playoffs. Our goal is to be in the playoffs and win a World Series. So with a roster similar to what we have, all of those things got to go right for us to win a World Series.
You guys made some moves near the end, brought more pitching in. You said after those moves, you can't have enough of it, right? You're going to get some guys back from injury, maybe too many starting pitchers next year. I don't know. I mean, what do you like about the options you guys have to start out next year with the people who should be coming back, injury and the new faces?
Well, I'll talk about just the advantage of having depth. With depth, you're protecting yourself, number one, but then you also may have assets that other teams are interested in. We don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but if that's the case, we know we have the depth to deal from our starting pitching. No different than trading Freddie Fermin. Part of why we traded Freddie Fermin was he added starting pitching to us, and we knew we had Carter Jensen and others behind him. So when you have a position of depth, it could be something you utilize to help in other areas. Then the obvious is just the injuries. I remember sitting with a lot of you in May talking about Kyle Wright and Alec Marsh and what are we going to do? Well, it never happened because injuries are part of this game. So going into the season with 8 or 9 starting pitchers that are currently on the roster is a good problem to have. So we can, feel good about that. It's going to be some tough calls come spring training. If everybody stays healthy, there's going to be some tough calls who are 5R.
Couple questions. First of all, payroll. Do you have a firm number or a ballpark on where you're going to be payroll?
Not a firm number, but I think where we're operating right now is plenty. I think we're in a good spot. Mr. Sherman has shown the willingness to do what we need to do if it puts us over the top. I think a great example of that was adding Carlos Estevez when we did late in the year. That certainly paid off. It's a small price to pay for what you hope to be a big reward at the end. But right now, I think we're going to operate just as we are. We're in that 140-ish range. We got to make that work. And if there's something that we can capitalize on later in the offseason that makes us marginally better, then we'll try to do it. But we're pretty comfortable with where we are. And from a front office perspective, it's our responsibility to make that work.
From a free agency standpoint, it seems like it's not, it's kind of evolved. That a lot of the good talent doesn't get out there. And you either have an enormous contract you got to take on, or you're maybe looking at leftovers. Is it more incumbent upon you to be able to trade for the things you need as opposed to just signing guys in this climate?
Yeah, I think when you look at some of the free agents to be, there's going to be some heavy price tags out there, and the supply and demand may not match up. Which makes it a little bit more difficult to meet those asking prices. So we do have to think about all avenues, which the next one would be trade. We do have to think about that, and I like to think we haven't shown like an unwillingness to do that. I think we've made some moves along the way that have helped us. So that is an avenue we have to explore. I think once we get into the offseason, dust settles early November, we'll have a more clear picture of what other teams may be doing and who they may be willing to trade. If it's not there, then you dive into free agency again and try to figure out how you can make your team marginally better if it's not a big name. So we just have to explore all of those different ways to make the team better.
Matt, I know the record, you weren't quite as good this year, compared to last year, but you had a lot more injuries. You had a lot more adversity you had to deal with. Not the record-wise, but just as the club. Do you feel that the club's progressed and is better this year as far as the core and what you have looking ahead? It's the same, worse?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I think, we say this all the time. We come into every night trying to win, right? And we didn't win enough. So I think that's on us, like we're talking about. There's a lot of different reasons for that. I don't I'm not a subscriber to talk about the injuries or the adversity. Every team deals with it, whether it's health, underperformance. There's all kinds of adversity, and I think that's a very overused term. This is a long season that, like I said, you have a million different things have to go your way to win the last game of the year. Didn't happen for us. Some of that's on our performance. Some of it's on other factors that are out of your control. And there's a tremendous amount of randomness to this game in how you acquire players. Some things that you think you have locked up don't go your way. Sometimes you think you have a slam dunk decision made in a game that doesn't go your way. Other times you don't have you might not have your high leverage relievers available that night, and other guys step up and we win the game. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but overall I would say, are we better? I think we're better from our processes. We weren't better from a wins and losses standpoint. So that's what we're judged on ultimately. And so no, I would say we took a step back.
Last one, JJ, you mentioned kind of the plan with Salvi. Mike Yastrzemski obviously was a big boost for you guys. Do you have a plan on approaching him and whether or not he would be back?
Yeah, not a definitive plan, but he's a player of interest. I mean, he did a tremendous job on the field, offensively, defensively, but we talk about this maybe a little too much, but he had influence in our clubhouse. There's a level of maturity that he brought to that batting cage every day, and then you watch the way he operated in the batter's box. That's what a mature hitter looks like, and it's not just Yaz, but over the last 2 years, we've added players of similar experience, and you can see that experience pays off. They're very confident in what they do and how they approach each at bat and recognize situations. So he is a player of interest for sure. We just have to see how that all shakes out, but he was a great clubhouse fit. From what I could tell and what he shared with me, enjoyed being here, which is always nice to hear because you're in the game if that's the way you're going to go.
JJ, speaking of that, with Yaz and the impact that Frazier made, Luke Maley, not only production but with their voice, maybe that wasn't there in April. Does that need to be is that a priority this offseason?
Yeah, it stands out. I mean, when we made the decision to go get Frazier back, we knew what we were getting from a leadership standpoint. He was playing really good with Pittsburgh. He played well with us. But we felt like with feedback from the players, coaches, where that was something we were missing. So it definitely needs to be on our, I'll say, to-do list this offseason, having people like Yaz, like Frazier, like Grichuk, Maley, in the clubhouse, because there's a level of comfort that they bring. There's a sense of calmness that they have that every team needs. Last year we experienced the ups and downs late with those, losing streaks we went through. It was those types of players that kept things in perspective. I think we need that to be part of our roster building plan. And then you want, obviously, the positionality of it. How do you make it all work? Right-handed, left-handed, infield, outfield. But to answer your question, yes, that'll be part of our desires to put that roster together with veteran guys.
JJ, for you, just more on the pitching staff and just the evaluation of what you have when you do have a lot of guys who did start, and does team control have a lot to do with that, with the players that you acquired, and also in the back end with the bullpen, just how would you assess that? Carlos had a great year, obviously, with the saves leader in the league, but the other guys, how would you assess those?
Yeah, on the surface, years of control do matter. I mean, when we're looking to acquire a player, that always stands out. But what we can't control is what the other team thinks or what their evaluations are of your players. So, whether or not there's a match there, it's hard to tell. But years of control would matter, you would think, from an acquiring team standpoint. And who do they have and who do they like that we can work a deal out? From a bullpen perspective, Carlos did a tremendous job. And I think Lucas did a great job. He dealt with some injuries this year. I don't know, once he hurt his back, I don't know if he was ever really 100%. He wasn't putting himself in harm's way by going to compete, not having Hunter Harvey. I think early on, those first 2 weeks, we felt like, man, this could be really special, that back end of the bullpen. So when we think about bullpen construction, knowing having three guys at the end that have power, that have some experience, will be a goal of ours. But I don't want to take away from anything the rest of the guys did. I mean, they performed really well. I don't remember going through a point of the season where like our bullpen was falling apart. You know, whether it was Daniel Lynn, Sean Helzerpa, John Schreiber, and John Bolin came up and did a great job. So they all filled in very well. But we all know in this game, when that back end is a lockdown bullpen, you're going to secure 3-2 wins and 4-3 wins. And we play in a lot of one-run games. I think we played in, if I'm not mistaken, 73 games that were 2 runs or less. So we're going to be in a lot of tight games. And when that bullpen is locked down in the back end, you're going to come out on the positive end of it if you're up a run.
Q, for you, just the consistency of the team had ebbs and flows, obviously, throughout the course of the season. You know, you have a good April, May, June goes down, but then early August you build up, and September goes down again. How do you make sure that you maintain some consistency throughout the season? Because we've seen a team like Cleveland just make a big surge in September. And I know you got to be watching that, think to yourself, like, that could have been us maybe. How do you try to keep that consistency through the season and make sure that you don't have that swing down?
Well, I like your question about consistency, but that's not consistency, the surges that they had, because they had 10-game losing streaks, 10-game winning streaks, but ultimately they won way more, 4 or 5 more games than us. So I think the one thing our guys did was be consistent. They grinded it out. We just never hit that one streak. But I've heard multiple times, like, oh, that was a terrible loss. Like, how do you rebound? Well, you come back the next day and you don't show up in the fetal position and you go out there and try to kick somebody's butt. And that's what these guys did every single day. The effort level, the intensity, the preparation. And I think that's what you can hang your hat on with this group of guys this year, was that they never packed it in. I mean, you saw we hit some stretches there where we needed to win some games and we didn't, and they came back the next day and won. That's a tremendous characteristic to build on, is that fortitude. So I think what we need to find is how to be cohesive enough to not have the 3-game losing streak when we know we need to win that night, those kinds of things. And that's on me to figure out the way to either manage that game differently and press for that one run, or whether that's a bullpen move or not a bullpen move. Again, there's a million different things that go into these. It's not like hey, we have the ball, we're going to run this play and we'll win because we do that. You have to be reactive in a lot of situations in baseball and understand that maybe it's a game management thing on my part. Maybe it's a behind-the-scenes thing of who plays that night or who gets a night off. So I think we're trying to find that cohesiveness and the way to keep the energy to sustain some more of those winning streaks that we need to really get ahead.
JJ, I just want to get your thoughts on the seasons that, Cameron, Carter Jensen, different sample sizes, obviously, the seasons they had, and also how cool it is to see guys like that from the area kind of rise up through the ranks. Yeah,
it's always cool for any player to play in their hometown and play in front of their family and friends, and to perform the way those two guys did, it was really impressive. Especially you look at Noah. I mean, pretty much over the course of the season, I'll speak for myself. I kept waiting for the hiccup; it never came. It seemed like he got better and better. What stood out with him was he'd have games where he'd give up some runs early, but he'd still be in there in the 6th inning, and that's like a sign of a very mature pitcher. So being a rookie and being able to do that is really impressive. And he ended, his ERA was under 3. I mean, it's pretty good. And then with Carter, it's a small sample, but it was really, I think, our fans and our coaches who weren't as familiar with him got a chance to see what he's all about. It's about good plate appearances, making good decisions on what pitches to swing at or not swing at, not trying to do too much. You saw him hit the ball the other way a lot, the opposite field, which is a sign of a complete hitter. And then what he did, he got good experience at the end of the year catching some of our guys. That's always the challenge for a young catcher. You have to take care of the pitchers first and not worry as much about your offense. But when you're a good offensive player, it's hard to balance that. But at least early indications where he did his work, he got with the pitchers, he called great. He followed the game plan. So there's a lot of positives with Carter, and certainly has a bright future.
And then Matt, what was kind of your parting message maybe to the guys heading into the offseason?
Yeah, I just thanked them. I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for the way they go about it. I think one thing I really appreciate is the guys that post up every day, and we've talked about a lot of those guys. We've mentioned Salvi and Bobby and Vinny and those guys and Mikel. But, the unsung heroes, the Schreibers and Zerpas that take the ball every time they're asked. Esty obviously was there the whole time. I think that goes, even India, a guy like that played through a ton of injuries this year. The guys that understand what it means to be a great teammate, I have a lot of admiration for them and respect, and I know how hard this game is to play. And I think that's generally what my message is to them, is appreciate the effort and just be ready to have a lot of conversations throughout the winter about how we're going to make this better.
DJ, what's the desire, propensity to talk to some of your younger guys about extensions, especially some of the guys going into arbitration this year?
Yeah, that's always going to be on the table for us. I think we have some good candidates for it, but like most cases, there's got to be a willingness on both sides. It's definitely something we want to explore and see where they may be. There's more positives than negatives, but it depends on what the goals of that player are and length of contract and all those things, because we have to not only think about right now, if we're going to sustain any level of winning over a long period of time, you got to live in the now, but you also got to live in the future. So there are things that we would have to evaluate, but a lot of it starts with really the player's desire to be here and what type of extension are they looking at. So we will be talking about those.
Q, you mentioned managing with expectations of wanting to make the postseason this year. How do you think the players kind of handle those expectations throughout the ebbs and flow of the season? How can that help them moving into 2026?
How did they handle
the ebbs and flows of the expectations of trying to make the playoffs and going through those lows and then bouncing back from it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they come in and say, okay, here's our external expectation, we need to live up to this, because it's far more granular. And I'm gonna probably say the same thing I said to you all year. They tried to conquer today, right? They tried to win their early work. They tried to win their BP. They tried to win the first pitch of the game, and that's how they go about it. So if they were worried about external expectations, then I didn't see that. I think it was more about how do we win right now, and those didn't add up to enough wins at the end of the day to get into the postseason. But I think they were fine. They didn't come into it, with some sort of they weren't chasing somebody else's expectations more than their own.
Is getting the ball in the air something Jack is going to be able to address this offseason, and something you want him to address?
Talking about his ground ball rate?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been there with Jack. I think when he does get in the air, we see good things happen. But yeah, there certainly will be, I don't even want to say adjustments, but trying to address that and how he does it. And a lot of that just comes down to pitch selection. Depending on what pitches he's swinging at, pitchers are trying to get him to hit the ball on the ground. They don't want him to hit the ball in the air. So how does he adjust to what the pitcher's trying to do to him will have a greater effect on how many balls he gets in the air.
Question for each. First, Matt, you mentioned India earlier. Ideally, when he's healthy, where would you like him in the lineup? Where would you like him defensively? And JJ, how would you assess the singer for India trade?
So I'm not a huge believer in you have to have a guy in a certain spot in the lineup, because I think the other 8 guys that are playing that day dictate the best balance and handedness, types of at-bats guys take. But Jonathan has shown an ability to be a top-of-the-order guy because of his on-base percentage. I think he was completely understanding and comfortable moving down in the lineup, too, when we had a different construction there, handedness-wise, when Yaz came and all those things. So I think he's a quality major league hitter that fits anywhere in the lineup. That's how I'd answer that. Defensively, I think he is best suited at second base. We asked a lot of him early in the year to try to play not only one new position but 2, and that was challenging. And I think if there was one other one, I think it would be third, but Mikel's pretty good over at third. So I think Jonathan, healthy Jonathan India is best suited at second base, and where he hits in the lineup is not as important to me.
Well, in assessing the trade, I think it was a good trade for both teams, because at the time you're trying to address what your needs are. They needed starting pitching. We needed, in this case, it was a leadoff hitter where we were trying to make something fit positionally, which just didn't work out the way we expected it to. John still got on base, maybe not at the rate that he had it previously in his career. Q talked about his injuries, so he dealt with some things. But when you look back on a trade, I mean, two players with 2 years of control with two teams that were striving for the same thing. We had made the playoffs, they didn't. They're in the playoffs this year, we're not. So I think it's just one of those trades. You do it in the moment because you believe that's what you need to do. And I think it's easy now to look back and say we should or shouldn't have. But I will say, if we had to do it all over again, we'd make that trade, given the moment we were in at the time.
Did you wonder if you could just assess what you envision the rotation going into spring training, and also as part of that, if you could address you had some guys that were banged up. I know Cole came back, but Seth and Chris, and just where they'll be.
Well, I think the three guys that Cole obviously Cy Young Award vote getter, Seth last year, Waka. I mean, those three. I think they're in our rotation. We saw how much Cole Reagans can change a game for us in the last three starts. I mean, it's dominant type stuff. Chris Bubich being an all-star this year, it's hard to ignore him and say he's fighting for a spot. But then you get Noah Cameron, Ryan Berger, Stephen Kolek. We have hopes for Luinder Avila, to compete for that spot. So there's a lot of depth. How it works out at the end, Falter. Yeah, thank you, Bailey Falter. So there's a lot of depth there. How it's going to shake out, I really don't know. But we certainly know what those top three guys represent. So there's competition for those last two spots.
Matt, I asked JJ about this, but just as the manager, I mean, how do you envision the offense? Like, what is the path to scoring more runs?
Yeah, I think JJ did a good job of talking about it. It's not just hitting, right? And I think I take a tremendous amount of responsibility for trying to find the right times for not the Bobbies and Michaels and Tolberts of base stealing, but the mid-range runners that we can get the extra 90 feet. I take responsibility for not doing a good job of that this year. Understanding that we have to be the best team in the league going first to third or scoring on singles. And that's a mindset thing. And we addressed it spring training. We continue to address it during the season, but again, sometimes the opportunity is with the wrong base runner, the guy that has a tough time doing that. Or again, my job is to start the runner at the right time where the guy puts the ball in play and we end up going first to third or scoring on the double. So I think there's emphasis on hitting clearly to stay in the moment and understand what those situations are and do a better job of executing when called upon. But also in playing a more holistic game and understanding how we're going to put more pressure on guys. And, certainly not from lack of desire this year. It was lack of timing on my part or on, some things that guys froze in the moment. And those are hard to predict when that's going to happen.
JJ, just lastly, I mean, you've been here for a long time. What is, do you think, the long-term effect of having back-to-back years of going 500, just as you look at this as, not trying to have these peaks and valleys, but having some...
Yeah, no, that's the goal. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, sustain winning over a long period of time. So while we're not playing in playoffs this year, I think it's something to build off of. Q knows, I mean, the last couple of weeks, every night, we got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. Like, we need to have a winning season. Winning on Sunday, it wasn't like the ultimate goal, but I was really proud that we went out and played the way we did on Sunday to finish with a winning record, because we know there's not a big difference between an 80 and 82 win team, like the talent, the execution, whatever happened, and an 82 and 80 win team. But at least we can hold our heads high and walk into next year thinking about how do we get better, how do we build on this. So it's 2 winning seasons in a row. And we believe it's the start of many winning seasons in a row. I think we're all going to come back to I don't want to say there was not motivation, but a more motivated group because we didn't make the playoffs. There's going to be more of a chip on their shoulders to prove that they belong in the playoffs. I don't think these guys are real happy that we're 80 and 82. Like, that's not what they're talking more about, not making the playoffs. But historically speaking, there are things we need to do. You win more games than you lose, then you have your years where you spike. Consistency is the ultimate goal for this organization. I will say this, in September, we were still playing meaningful games. And that, I hope, means something to the city and to our fans, that they had something to still grab onto and some sort of hope that we can pull this thing off. Now we just got to keep building on and doing it every year.
Could you feel that on Sunday? I mean, that's obviously not the meaning of the game that they exactly wanted, but could you feel that?
I never lost that feeling from these guys, and I'll tell you behind the scenes thing, when we were officially eliminated, so that it happened right before the game on Tuesday in Anaheim. So I had gone to the guys and said, how do you want to play this out? They looked at me like I was nuts. We're playing every day. All those guys wanted to play every day. Salvi, Vinny, Bobby, Michael, Yaz, Izzy had already gotten hurt, India. They wanted to play. They have a tremendous amount of pride in what they do as professionals. They have a tremendous amount of pride for this organization and for the city, as do we, obviously. And like JJ said, the difference in 1 win or 2 wins, if you're not making the playoffs, that's not where we're hanging our hat. But on the professionalism and the desire, I mean, you go out there in that game Sunday and Yaz is stealing bases. I mean, he's going to get a lot of kudos for the home runs, right? But he's stealing bases and, trying to make a difference in getting 1 run. And you look at a guy like Daniel Lynch came into a game with the bases loaded against Kurtz. He hasn't pitched in 8 days. He comes in there and executes 3 sliders to strike out one of the better hitters in the game this year. And the mood in the dugout was exactly the same as it had been in any game the rest of the year. They were trying to win. We were trying to execute. And I think that's what, to answer, Jalen's question from earlier, is what their standards are for themselves. And that's what gives me the belief that this is a winning. This team won more than it lost, but this is a winning culture and a winning environment, that they have that amount of pride in what they do.
Got 2 more. JJ, can you give us an update on just kind of what the plan will be in the offseason for Lugo, Berger, Bubic, Marsh, Ursig, all the guys that are down? Is there any expecting any major surgery? Do you expect everybody to be ready to go?
The only one that may potentially be having surgery is Marsh. So we're trying to figure out where that's going. But the rest of them, we expect full return beginning of spring training. I think some of them might even be pitching in WBC. So we're going into the season feeling pretty good about our health, with the one exception, trying to figure out where Marsh is going to be at the start of the year.
All right, so that was Matt Quatrero and JJ Picollo, last 43 minutes or so, wrapping up the 25 season, heading into 26. Tons to react to. We'll try to do some of that today and throughout the week as well. I'll start with what I have seen has gotten the most attention, at least on social media and the text line, and it is JJ Picollo. Because it was so early in the presser, I'll play you the cut. This was Picollo talking about any staff changes. Well, I was going to play the cut. It's there. I don't know why it now has 0 next to it, Drew, on that. The Zumwalt one, if we can reset that one, let's see.
What I will say is Alex Zumwalt's going to be our hitting coach. How do we support Alec in a way that allows him to have the most success with the roster that we have? Those decisions haven't been made yet, and we still have to work through that.
So Alex Zumwalt will be back as one of the hitting coaches for this team.
Sounds like they might change some of the other hitting coaches.
I want to see what the other tweak is. Is it, removing one of the other hitting coaches, reassigning, bringing in somebody new? I do want to see the full picture before everybody goes nuts. However, my feeling on this. We did our off-season wish list at 10:15. What was the first thing on my wish list?
You said to get rid of
Not
Alex
that I want
Zumwalt.
somebody fired. I don't hope personally that anybody loses their job, okay? But I don't believe the results have been there for him to retain his job. I think that's somewhat of a mistake. This is where I think JJ Picollo is a great general manager. I just disagree on this particular decision. I want to see the full picture, though, of what the hitting staff looks like moving forward. But Alex Zumwalt still staying on as the hitting coach concerns me, yes.
It's like you got to find, and this is what they're obviously going to work on. They're probably going to try to find some individual people to work on the guys who need help. Because to their point in Alex Zumwalt in the minor leagues and all that stuff, he's giving Alex Zumwalt a lot of credit for the guys who came up under him in the minors. Bobby Wood Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Michael Garcia, etc. And the guys who have excelled in the majors, including Michael Garcia this year at that level. So maybe when they look for hitting coaches to go opposite him this offseason, they're going to find a guy to work with Cags specifically, because as of right now, that looks like a guy who's going to need some help this offseason working on some swing changes. Look, I'm not in love with it, but I'm also just like, at the end, that's not going to be the bigger swing for whether they make the postseason or not. I do think that they're...
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think it's
me,
part of the equation. I mean, I'm not saying like it means automatically there's no way they can make the playoffs now if he stays on. That's not what I'm saying either. However, I think if we acknowledge the offensive issues, that's why I want to see the full picture, because they're not going status quo, but we also don't know what the change is. And so is that... Why would you believe that it's going to be different for developing some of these guys?
Weirdly enough, the thing that bothered me more in any of the stuff that he said, because most of it I agree with, right? Like, I like the idea of like winning consistently is where we're trying to be as an organization. Some years you still come up short of the postseason, but we are trying to put a consistent contender on the baseball field. This year's team did do that. It came up short of expectation, but it did do that. I don't like that they still talk of the old days of he listed their offensive principles, the things that are at their core, the things that they strive to be offensively, and did not mention homers once. And you're like, in 2025, this is where...
Yeah, he did talk about home runs.
Later he did. In the initial like core values of the offense, he didn't discuss it. Here's where initially, this is part of my issue with the way they're constructed from a power hitting perspective, and why they do occasionally need a guy who's going to be 40 or 50 home runs, like any team does, is when you start looking at what happened to this year's offense. This year's offense, team-wise, very similar to last year's offense, team-wise. Last year's offense was league average. This was near the bottom. The final 81 games of this year, the Royals were actually the 8th best runs per game offense. No, I'm not saying... Yeah. You immediately start getting defensive. I don't mean it in a way like problem solved.
We've heard this like the back end of the season stuff every time.
But I'm not pitching this as like the offense is fixed for next year. What I'm saying is what they have to diagnose is the problem they have is why is your offense not incapable of scoring runs? Why is it so wildly inconsistent at scoring runs? And the answer to that typically is homers. Put the ball over the fence. And those offensive woes come a lot less in between if Cags puts one over for 3 runs, Carter Jensen, Salvi, Vinny, whoever. If you consistently hit home runs, you are more likely to consistently score runs. And I still feel like that's part of their issue. Problem is they can't even get that in the offseason, man. How can they solve that, Gold? How can they just they're not signing Pete Alonso this offseason. I don't think they're signing Kyle Schwarber. So, unless they're going to find somebody who consistently hits the ball over the wall, I don't know that they can get that in a single offseason.
Yeah, I mean, the payroll stuff as well, people were commenting on as well. I didn't expect there to be much of a change there. That's the same philosophy, and I have no problem with that. They said they're going to be in that 140 range again, and if there's a move late in the offseason that causes them to go over and they think it's enough to be worth it, then they can potentially get some clearance from ownership on that, and they've done that the last couple of years. It's nice that we're not talking about the payroll stuff as much as we have in the past. I just think it's going to be very, very interesting.
I'd like them to spend $200 million, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it'll be very interesting, though. The rest of what's the tweak look like on the hitting staff and overall what do they believe is actually going to change there? And someone say, hey, it's not just the hitting coaches. I know it's not, but if we're all acknowledging that they may not be able to go find that solution externally,
they're going to have to get better
from a position player. Okay, guys get better. Hey, look, guys can get better and work in the offseason. Not saying that never happens. Do you believe you have the right people in place to do that? They believe at least Alex Zumwalt is part of the solution. That's their belief. And they believe there's other tweaks that can get there. I'm skeptical. We'll see how the rest of the offseason goes.
I'll just say his name's going to get brought up a bunch again if they go through the same circumstance, Gold, and they run into this issue.
April and May?
Yeah, they get a slow start to the offense again. We're going to be right back where they are because the offense, like somebody said, he's not going to get credit for the 7th best offense. I'm saying on aggregate, you can give him credit for all of it. But if you're going to say Alex Zumwalt gets credit for both first half and second half offense, well, they were one of the 5 worst offenses in baseball. So, I don't think you want to play the game of I only talk about Alex Zumwalt when they're hitting in the second half of the season. Because it is going to be hard to they were still one of, this is so annoying about this team this year. And not in a negative, not in an overly negative way. I don't think they lack offensive talent. I think that's why you're more frustrated with Zumwalt, and I don't think that's unfair.
Yes.
Vinny, Bobby, Salvi, Michael, Carter Jensen, when he did, hell, maybe even what Kaz can do one day. Like, they could hit a little bit. Like, they are not devoid of talented hitters. And it's like, why? What is the – and look, I'm not saying I have the answer to that.
Yeah,
that's the thing they're going to spend the entire offseason figuring out. Why are we so wildly inconsistent? I can point to why they just call up any pitcher and they work. Well, that's Brian Sweeney in the pitching development. It's working. And JJ's evaluation of pitching talent in other organizations, they got a system in place to make sure that when 5 starting pitchers go down, they don't struggle. Can they stop themselves from having a 2-month slump offensively? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think at one point Q was asked about for them, how do they find winning streaks too? Because the reality is to give yourself an opportunity where you're going to have some lulls in a baseball season. It's 162 games. Well, you got to have some winning streaks built in there as well. I think also the offensive answer, I think it was JJ was talking about, yes, it's the slug and all that, but also they gave away so many outs on the base paths again this year. And so how does that change your run production too if you're not making some of the decisions that they made on the base paths? There were multiple times, especially in the first half of the season, where on the base paths, it was frankly unacceptable, costing yourself outs
they were
on the
terrible
base
base
paths.
running
That's that kind of stuff. Now that I actually believe is far more correctable, right? Like I think that is far more correctable, and that is to me on a player basis more than anything else. Like at some point you're in the big leagues, like you know,
don't sleepwalk on the bases, pay attention,
that kind of stuff. It's an off season coming off an 82-win season. There's the balance of recognizing that this is a team that is, I don't think they're terribly far away by any means. Nope. I just think it concerns me. It's a little dangerous it feels a little bit of things are just going to go better for us. and like that we don't have to do a whole lot, but things are going to go better for us. We know where we have to get better, but we don't necessarily, have to do a whole lot in terms of external things. And I hope that's right.
I don't disagree with you that that's certainly the way it's sounding right now. The one thing I will say is in the last 2 years, they had horrible starting pitching and they fixed it. They had a horrible bullpen and they fixed it. So my hope is that if the weak link of the and in the last 2 off seasons, their biggest glaring weakness, they put some work in on, and it got significantly better in a hurry. So my hope is that at least, and I understand, 5 or 6 of the probably 9 starting spots are eaten up. 7 maybe even, if you include Kyle Isbell or a player, or like just the timeshare at second base between India and Massey. So like a huge chunk is. We're not talking about, it doesn't have to be major moves, but you can't just ignore it, and you can't just count on CAG. You can't just count on guys to get better. You're going to have players in place that if things go south in a hurry, you have other places to go.
All right, we're going to get a break in. Obviously, it's been a long hour here with JJ Picollo and Matt Quattro's press conferences. There's plenty more to react to. We'll do it throughout the week as well. We'll play back a few bits and pieces that were very interesting as well. We'll also get to what's trending. Of course, this normally would be when we would have the Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. But let's get to a little what's trending and All 32 next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
BetMGM is inviting you to charge the field this pro football season. Existing BetMGM customers can have a ball without having to sweat. Log into your account to get a pro football no sweat token. Apply the token to your next pro football bet. If you lose with the token attached, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. That's right, with a no sweat token, you get your stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's nothing like a fresh set of downs. And that's just what BetMGM is offering if you don't win with a no-sweat token. Find your favorite matchup and be part of the action. Make this pro football season one for the ages. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
This October, the whole family can ride along for the wildest weekend in Kansas City. PBR Outlaw Days. October 3rd through the 5th at T-Mobile Center. Cheer on your Kansas City Outlaws as they battle the world's best on the dirt, under the lights. KansasCityOutlaws.com. Get your tickets now at PBR.com. Kansas City Outlaws. All grit, and no quit.
Hey, Chiefs fans, Crown Royal is the official whiskey of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this season, it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/royal rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Hey, almost Andy Reid here. It's been an honor to give back to the community that's embraced me being almost your head coach. Thanks for letting me be part of your team. Renner Garage Door is a teammate of mine that also values the community that they served for decades, always giving back and delivering wins with top brands like Geldon, Amar, and Liftmaster. Need a repair or replacement? Get a free estimate today. Forward and back.
RENNER. RENNER.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You could win money right now in Missouri and select entries over on Underdog. Playing an Underdog is super easy. You just choose whether your players will go higher or lower than their stats, like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. We talked about Knicks last night. Obviously, another Thursday night slate coming around in a few corners. Plus, you can mix and match sports. Little playoff baseball, perhaps, interest you over at Underdog. Again, it's higher or lower than it could be hits, home runs, whichever side of that on the baseball end today, or touchdowns, interceptions, and so much more. Plus, they have pick'ems and champions games and ladders and so many different ways to play. You don't have to choose between just one option at Underdog. You can choose between plenty. Join the millions who have already won billions over at Underdog and download the app. Sign up using promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $100 in bonus funds or entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP. Underdog makes plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing-good-terms_DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Paid for by term provider. Premiums will vary. Plans depend on age, location, and other factors. Visit bigloot.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509 5009. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509 or biglou.com.
Paid for by term provider. Premiums will vary. Plans depend on age, location, and other factors. Visit biglou.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509 or biglou.com.
Paid for by term provider. Premiums will vary. Plans depend on age, location, and other factors. Visit biglou.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider. 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Getting the job done right the first time protects your home, time, and budget. This summer, get $500 off a water softener and filtration combo. Schedule at anthonyphce.com.
Hey, it's Xavier Worthy. The Chiefs Radio Network pregame show starts 3 hours before kickoff, right here on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
Number 1 on What's Trending, you just heard Matt Quattrero and JJ Picollo speak for about 40 minutes or so here on 96.5 The Fan. The most notable thing among multiple, I think, questions that were answered throughout the press conference is that Alex Zumwalt will return as Royals hitting coach in 2026. JJ Picollo mentioning that there will be some tweaks perhaps, though, with the staff. We'll see what that looks like later in the offseason, but that was the most notable present change. There's other stuff in the offseason that'll be interesting, but that is something that people are wondering, and that is something that the organization is already getting out there, that Alex Zumwalt will return as the hitting coach.
Just like he told us, obviously, the other day, they plan on bringing Salvador Perez back, maybe a pitcher trade in the works. Also said they have interest in bringing Mike Yastrzemski, back as well. Next up on What's Trending, the MLB playoffs start today.
Right now.
Actually, in 5 minutes. We'll get first pitch of Tigers and Guardians. They'll take on each other first. The most funny part of that one is do all this work, beat them in there, and then the Tigers go on to win the series anyway. It'll be Skubal on the mound today for the Tigers. Padres and Cubs will be the second game. Yankees and Red Sox tonight at 5. And then Dodgers and Reds will be tonight at 8 o'clock. You mentioned the Reds, obviously, because Brady Singer was a part of that Jonathan India trade. You heard J.J. Picollo mention that in the presser as well.
I don't know how you feel about the Tigers-Guardians series. For me, we all know the comeback from the Guardians, down 15.5 games in the division and all that. Now they get to host the game instead of the Tigers. Do you think there's any bit of, okay, so the Tigers, everything was slipping away from you. It's all slipping away. The Guardians are catching you. Everybody's saying you're choking. Anyway. Now you're in the playoffs, and now, yes, you lost the home field advantage, or in the series. But so now, do you think there's a little bit of a, all right, well, we didn't screw it. Doesn't matter now. Now we just go win.
Yeah.
Actually, in a weird way, I would not surprise. I think the Tigers are actually going to win this series.
I do too, honestly. But we'll see. Obviously, they've been a significantly better team if you put it on aggregate over the course of the season, pointing out that the Guardians still had a negative run differential.
Elsewhere on What's Trending, Tyreek Hill, a gruesome injury last night in Monday Night Football's win for them over their opponent, the New York Jets. Multiple torn ligaments, including, of course, dislocating his knee.
And his ACL.
Just one of those brutal injuries. For someone at his age that relies on speed, I think it's a fair question to wonder, will he return to being the player that he has been in a year and a half from now, because he's going to miss, I would think, most of next season too.
I would think a huge chunk of next season. Maybe he could come back later. They're going to have a contract decision. He's a massive cap hit, but you can save about $25 million by letting him go. There might be an injury settlement. We'll see exactly what happens with Tyreek. Next up on What Trending, Jackson County voters are going to the polls today to decide whether or not to recall Frank White. I don't know what else is on the ballot. I live in Clay County now. You obviously don't live in Jackson County as well. But the Frank White recall vote is today, Gold, over in Jackson County. Do you think he'll survive it?
No.
Seeing how he was still trying to fight it yesterday seems like a pretty bad sign.
Does anybody think he's not getting recalled?
I mean, between the property tax mess and then the stadium stuff, and probably more importantly, the property tax mess. No, I do not. I do not think he will make it. We'll see, I guess. He might continue to fight it after lawsuits and whatever.
Lastly, on What's Trending, we all know the ongoing investigation over with the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard and that shell company, essentially no-show job. Yeah, and that filed bankruptcy and everything. Kawhi yesterday at Media Days, this was his answer, denying the allegations, but also never really said anything.
You were named as like the largest creditor in the bankruptcy filing, right? Did you actually get the money that was owed to you in the contract, or?
No.
Genuinely, what I think is one of the most interesting things about this, and correctly pointed out by Pablo Torre, who, if you've not listened to the full episodes, has an absolutely incriminating amount of evidence working against the Clippers and Kawhi in this case is, if this is on paper, Gold, what they're claiming it is an endorsement deal for a professional athlete to pitch as a sponsor. There are three major issues with it. One, Kawhi Leonard was hurt for the season at the time they signed him to this deal, which makes very little sense. He is not an exciting personality, which also makes no sense. And more importantly, if this was a partnership, Gold, in which he was going to endorse a company and do work and not a no-show contract, which is obviously what Pablo Torre is alleging, why did they never make a formal announcement that he was endorsing them, use him in anything public-facing at all? Typically, Gold, if you paid me $30 million to endorse something, I'd probably show up. You'd probably hear about it, Gold. There'd probably be an announcement of our partnership together. Why did you keep it so secret? If you were paying him $30 million.
It's weird because a lot of it, it'll be interesting to see what evidence is actually presented, because it feels like a situation where we all kind of know what happened, but is there actually anything where it's enough to give a stiff penalty? It was funny. So media days are happening happening. Somebody made a joke. It's not funny, but it is kind of funny. So they were doing pictures and they had Kawhi face like this and then turned sideways, and they're having Kawhi practice his mugshot right now.
Look,
the Clippers the media was doing.
Again, he posted in his most recent podcast.
I don't think he's going to get caught, quote unquote, enough to get penalized.
I think the
team is going to get nailed more than
100%. 100%.
Yeah, because they had internal company text messages. And if you read them back and forth, the one guy's like, wait, why are we going for Kawhi? He's not even interesting. They said he's dull. They're like, if we're going to pay $30 million for a guy, why don't we pay Steph?
What he wanted,
I don't know what's going on.
What he wanted also was, the reason he didn't go to the Lakers was he wanted partial ownership of the Lakers. There was a lot that Kawhi's camp was demanding. And
this is pretty clear that he made the league max, but he wanted more money than the league max in order to go be anybody's teammate. And they gave him a no-show contract. It's not that hard to figure out. It definitely happened. The Clippers are definitively guilty
What are
of
you
this,
willing to do?
And I know it's allegedly, but yeah.
It's a what are you willing to do to make sure that I come and play for your team sort of thing.
Coming up next hour, less than an hour from now, Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN, will join us in studio. We'll talk some Chiefs football with him. Of course, what the offense looked like a couple days ago, and look ahead a little bit to that Jags game. Don't forget, though, on Tuesdays, our lunch partner here on Cody and Gold, our friends over at Pearl Tavern in Lee Summit. Reeling a deal every Tuesday at Pearl Tavern. $2.50 fish and shrimp tacos. $5 house margaritas made with premium Jose Cuervo silver. Pearl Tavern, part of the Summit Hospitality Group. Before we get to all 32, let's get back into talking about Travis Kelce a little bit. And I think we all acknowledged in terms of just how it looked, and a lot of it is because of Xavier Worthy. I thought that was Travis Kelce's, best game of the 2025 season. I get it. Week 1, he had the long touchdown. But it's amazing when a defense has to be concerned with multiple pieces on your offense and the speed of Worthy. Suddenly, Travis Kelce has a little bit more of an opportunity maybe to get involved in the game. at this stage in his career where he's not going to be able to just separate as much as he has in the past. But there were opportunities there because you get some better matchups when you're playing a defense that, one, was the Ravens, but also a defense that has to worry about Worthy and Thornton and Brown. And at times, I thought when Brashard Smith was on the field, they were worried about some of that speed.
I think what's going to stand out about it is the second that Rashee Rice comes back, Travis Kelce's yards per game might go down, Gold, but everything else is going to go up because everything's going to be easier. Those third downs are going to be easier. All of that stuff. Because you are going to have to commit resources to somebody else. This was the first reminder to me that teams do not respect Tyquan Thornton and teams do not respect Hollywood Brown. They did not even bother to do anything other standard coverage for either of those guys. Even when Tyquan Thornton was getting open deep all the time, he was essentially just doing it against single coverage. They were still bracketing and doubling. And if you look, consistently doing both of those things to Travis Kelce. Second Xavier Worthy got on the field, what'd they do? Like, well, we have to guard him. And he still finished with 122, I think it was, scrimmage yards.
All purpose, yeah.
So, 122 scrimmage yards for Xavier Worthy. And Travis Kelce's, every single one of Travis Kelce's yards to me looked easy. Now, look, Patrick Mahomes did make I would say, tremendous throw. But Travis was open by multiple yards. If you look at the behind the quarterback angle of that, there was a clear path to get Travis that ball because he was running up that, outside seam area and making it easy for him. That was the first time in a game in a year I felt like Travis wasn't having to work for the yardage, Gold. He wasn't having to battle for every single one. Someone was on his hip every 5 seconds that he caught it. And despite the fact he's had a slow start to the season, he's still, at the moment, the 10th best tight end in receiving yardage and tied for third in touchdown total, right? Or fourth in touchdown total. So it's not crazy that he will continue to grow this season. My thing still is what you said. He's never going to be the one anymore. There were a couple times in this offense when he was co-number one or clear number two behind Tyreek Hill a couple of times. As in, no question who the number two guy is. He's going to be 3. And 3 is a really comfortable spot for Travis Kelce to be right now at this stage in his career. Worthy gets to be the 2. Rice comes back and be the 1, or vice versa, depending on how they like it. Because Worthy's made, and this is the conversation I guess we'll have when Rice comes back, Worthy's made a pretty strong case to be the 1. I'm not saying that's how they'll handle their offense.
Nah, Rashee Rice.
Look at the last 8 games of last season and now the beginning, his first game this year. I'm saying he's making a case for it.
Yeah, I think Rice is the 1, assuming the knee is all good and everything like that. I mean, let's not forget, I think, where Rice was before. Xavier Worthy had to be the 1 last year, and he's having to be the 1 right now. He's capable of doing. If your point is he can be 1, sure, I'm not going to argue that.
No, I'm saying
I just think for this team, when Rashee Rice comes back, not his first game against the Raiders, but when the season gets going and it's multiple games back for Rice, he is their best wide receiver on the team.
I'm just saying that Xavier Worthy's entering that conversation. Okay. I mean, because if we're just saying a 4-game sample size for Rice last year, I can find 4 games that Xavier Worthy did what Rashee Rice did last year. I can.
I would just say how many wide receivers the style of Xavier Worthy are number 1s in the league?
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, he's probably 1. Tyreek Hill was, for a while, right? You're talking speedy guys. I'm not saying Worthy has.
If A.J. Brown wasn't on the Eagles, Devontae Smith would be the number 1 wide receiver. He's
but in that case, that's He's not in that case. Yeah. That's actually a bad example for Worthy.
No, but I think the same goes for, you can throw at other teams too. Jordan Addison, is he a number 1 for a team? Is he capable of it?
But he's not. But you know what I'm saying? He's not, though.
But that's because they have guys who are top in their position. I think if Xavier Worthy, I think, is capable of being a number 1. I think just like the people say T. Higgins is a number 1. T. Higgins is not a number 1 wide receiver right now, but T. Higgins is capable of being a number 1 the same as Devontae Smith is. And Xavier Worthy, based on what we've seen, I think he's capable of being a guy where if he were on the Tennessee Titans, he would be a clear number 1 and capable of getting you a grand.
But I'm saying I don't disagree with you there. I'm saying he should make a case for being Kansas City in the sense that, Gold, you're saying.
I'm saying Rashee Rice is the best wide receiver on the team.
I think
you're saying when they're both back, you're saying you think Xavier Worthy could be the first.
I think he might be the best wide receiver on the team. Yes. I don't think that's
debatable. Sure.
So we're look. Rashee Rice's rookie year was so if we do entirety of their career, Rashee Rice is put more on paper, I think, in general. As in his rookie year was better than Xavier Worthy's rookie year. So he was 900 yards and 600 yards. There was a clear difference. Last year, when Rashee Rice had 4 games in a row where he had 24 catches and 260 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Yes.
Worthy had that in 2 different stretches last year. That number of catches, that many yards, that many touchdowns. And in the 1 game he's played this year, was even better than that. I would still choose, I think, Rashee Rice is the best wide receiver.
Okay, well,
I'm saying Worthy's making a
saying.
very strong case for it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
well, then
insane at all.
we're not disagreeing then. I said I think Rashee Rice is the number one wide receiver, and you're saying you think he still is too. So we're on the same page.
I do think
Worthy absolutely has the skill set to be one of the better wide receivers in the league. This is not a shot at Xavier Worthy. I'm saying Rashee Rice, I think fairly clearly a better wide receiver.
See, I'm saying it's closer than that. But yes.
To your point, I think it will be interesting to see when Rashee comes back and the offense is flowing. I know that Rashee was featured a lot, obviously, in camp, but if we're looking at as the season progresses and Xavier Worthy's still getting 6, 7, 8 targets a game, I mean,
he should be.
They're just a combination more than anything else, it seems like, which obviously makes things a lot better for Patrick Mahomes.
Look, I think it's this is where I think it's closer. Like, if you made me break it down right now, I would say the rest of the season, the second Rashee Rice comes back through the end of the year, I think it's like a 60% chance Rashee Rice finishes with more yards than Worthy. I think there's still a 40% chance that Xavier Worthy finishes with more yards week 7 through the end of the year.
Yeah, maybe
how many
so.
games in hand is he going to have?
Yeah, I would be surprised by that. But it's a possibility.
That just goes back to like the way that they're handling those guys in the 1 versus the 2. I mean, Worthy has made a strong argument to be a number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
Maybe not for this team because they've got 2 great guys. I don't know.
100%. I agree.
But he's definitely made.
Absolutely.
Like his last 10 games on a football.
If you put him on the Cleveland Browns, he is by far the number 1. He is better than Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, he's probably the number 1 on a few teams.
Yeah, I hear you. Citing the Browns and Titans, they're just bad rosters. But yes.
Well, it counts, I guess.
It does. If we're being technical, you're correct.
I think he'd probably be the number 1 guy for like 5 to 7 teams. And yes, they are the bad rosters. He's not going to be the number 1 in Cincinnati, even though they're a bad team. And he's not the number 1 in
the same way to me, like Zay Flowers is the number. I think Zay Flowers is very, very good. He's the number 1 because he's also in Baltimore. He would not be the number 1 at about half the league.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, he's been pretty good for a while. I mean, I don't.
He's the only weapon there for Lamar to throw the ball to.
Are we looking at numbers for this? Because technically,
no, I'm not. Actually, I don't have anything pulled up.
I don't either, because I think in terms of just productivity, he's been better than Garrett Wilson has been. Zay Flowers.
But that's the point. But you don't actually think Zay Flowers is better than Garrett Wilson, though.
If you had to choose a number 1 wide receiver for your team, you'd choose Garrett.
I don't think so. No, but
I don't know. It'd be close. Honestly, that would be close.
It might be.
I'd probably choose Garrett Wilson, but you might as well flip a coin at that point. Neither of them. And Rice might not be either. That goes back to the whole Chiefs. They are definitely deeper. But nobody on this roster, Worthy and Rice included, have proved themselves to be one of the top 10 guys.
No.
Top 15 guys in the league. So
yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's absolutely taken that crown at this point.
All right, let's get to all 32 guys. Looking at the NFL a little bit. I'll start. You mentioned Tyreek Hill, actually, like 2 minutes ago. More on just him. I think, unfortunately, given the fact that he's a player that is so reliant on speed, it's why he's on a Hall of Fame path. We all know how dynamic he has been. He's changed the game with his speed. When you destroy your knee the way he did, unfortunately, last night, I don't think he will be the same player. Then you couple it with age already. You're wondering speed decreasing as he gets older. I hope he has an opportunity in a year and a half or 2 years to show that, no, I still got it. I unfortunately don't think that's the case. I think if it was a different wide receiver, we'd still would say it's a terrible injury and all this. His particular skill set, his size, relying on speed, and having a knee that's completely destroyed, I don't think he will be back to being Tyreek Hill again, unfortunately.
I think it's really difficult because he obviously is, and we talked about this when he was in Kansas City, an excellent route runner. So, he's very, very good at that. But at the same time, speed is obviously what separates him from the weak in a lot of cases. And yeah, how can you, 33 years old, he's probably already going to slow down, wasn't he, Gold? I do think he'll play football again, don't you? I assume he'll be on a roster. I don't think he's just going to retire at the end of this thing. No,
I think he'll give it a shot, but I think there's a real chance he goes and he's on a team in camp or something in a year and a half from now, and then he's in camp. We're like, man, he doesn't have the same burst, and he's just not the same. I mean, he's so reliant on that.
It's going to be a prove it deal. I don't have any argument against that. It's definitely going to be that. I'm going to do my all 32 today on Jake Browning, a player that I remember.
I'm going to step away from the mic.
Just 2 weeks ago on this show, Drew and I got into an argument over the backup quarterbacks and who you would like starting for your particular team. At that time, I had said he would rank 5th out of 6 possible backup quarterbacks. Drew cited some rookie year numbers for him. I pointed out that was 7 games compared to Mac Jones' rookie year. Comparable, a quarterback that nobody likes. He's now started 9 games in his career. He's played in 15. and he's thrown what would be the equivalent of about a half season's worth or 3/5 of a season's worth of pass attempts. He averages 162 yards a game. He averages 1 touchdown a game, essentially, maybe 1.5 if you're being generous. And he averages a pick a game. Actually, 1.5 on that and 2. He stinks. He's like every other backup quarterback. I don't know if Drew's accepted it yet, but Jake Browning, like most backup quarterbacks, he's not isolated in this. Stinks.
Hey, and I think Jason Kelce's right, actually, as a matter of fact.
Did he say Jake Browning stinks?
I think I needed more validation. But because of how bad they look with Jake Browning, Jason Kelce said yesterday at halftime that Joe Burrow is the best player in the world. Because
we're turning this into a Burrow
because
argument?
Because of how awful they looked yesterday. I think you're right, though. I think he does stink. And
you shifted.
I don't know. I don't think
exposure is tough in the NFL.
I don't think he's like bad. I think some of it has to do with everything, including the offensive line. But I don't know how. I don't know what. If he was the Monstars and he just stole Tom Brady's talent for 5 games, because in 2023 he was very good, and I don't know where that individual went, but it's not currently. It's not currently here.
We all can learn this lesson in the NFL, and I know Gold's mentioned a million times. I'll mention it again. Exposure is a tough thing in the NFL. It is easy to look good and a little microburst when they don't have
7
tape.
games is more than a microburst.
There's a reason. No,
in
that's a
season
in
is
the
a
NFL.
microburst.
That's a microburst. In the NFL, the second you start every day and they get tape on your ass, they figure it out pretty quick. And we also see that the Bengals roster had some major holes in it and continues to have major holes. That's probably not helping him that he's getting killed yesterday by the Denver Broncos defensive line.
Yeah, no, that doesn't help.
Leads the NFL. In fairness, Denver Broncos lead the NFL in pressures, sacks, and pressure rate. So, that's a team that'll get to the quarterback. But, yeah, Jake Browning stinks. He'd be starting for a team who's any good.
The hype, there was a lot of hype. That's all,
I can say that I'm wrong about Jake Browning, but it's not, it doesn't.
You hyped him up a lot.
Well, yeah, because
you said he was a dog.
Because based on what we had seen, that's all that we knew.
That's true.
I'm not going to act like he's not something that we haven't seen yet. Just the same as I'm not going to act like, I don't know, somebody who's playing really good as an MVP. Because
it's in our office.
Where's the Hooters outfit? I just wanted to see if you can just start sizing yourself a little bit.
It's in the office. The 2-2. Tough start now.
I mean,
0-2, I was feeling pretty bad. Or 2-0, I was feeling pretty bad.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Look, I don't have any shame in wearing it. It's not like it's.
Bengals have the Lions, Packers, Steelers coming up.
I don't think it's as embarrassing for me as it would be for you guys. Wearing the outfit.
I think it's embarrassing all the way across the board. Would not be good if I had to wear it. Would not be good if Cody had to wear it either.
I would have been pretty embarrassed.
I don't feel embarrassed for having to wear it. I just have to wear it because it was part of the bet. I mean, it is what it is.
Fair enough.
Which, it's when the fat lady sings, in all likelihood, they're not going to be in the playoffs. So whenever that happens, then yeah, I'll wear it. That's how it goes.
Which player would you like to talk about today, or team?
So I'm going to talk about Cam Ward. I think more players, and this is something, and I wish that more players in the NFL and more coaches in the NFL were just honest. I wish that they were honest. Cue what I'm about to play from Cam Ward, who, after they played going to 0-4, this is what he said.
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
I'm going to keep it a buck. We're not good. Point blank and period. I like the honesty. Where some other quarterbacks might say, well, we got to be a little bit better. We got to work on this stuff. I'm going to work on making sure that I can be a little bit better as a quarterback. I like the honesty.
Right now, we ass.
We stink. Ass is so funny.
I love the honesty. I wish coaches were this way, too. We're just not good. Point blank and period. Like, being honest, I think, provides more respect level instead of just, we got to be better and just moving on from there. It gets very irritating to hear that on a regular basis, just across the league.
The people who made the T-shirts that just had the Titans logo and it just said "we ass" on top. I'll just tell you right now, if this were the Chiefs in that situation, whatever, I would have immediately purchased that shirt. I would have immediately purchased it. I
think there's a Cincy version coming out here very soon this week as well. That is all 32.
They might be as bad as the Titans. The way the offenses look, the offense is maybe worse than the Titans' offense. To be honest with
you. Yikes! All right, up next, let's talk more about the baseball postseason. Watching games right now, actually. The Tigers already up 1-0 on the Guardians, top of the second inning. First wild card, first of 4 games today. We'll address that a little bit, plus the random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We continue to tell you about this dream weather in Kansas City. You could have your dream deck thanks to All Weather Decks. I always tell you it's easy if you want to go, and like I went through the process. It's super simple. They break down every little part depending on which part you want. Like, do you want a composite deck or wood? What do you think about the railings here? Do you want a screened-in porch? How would you like the fire pit to work? Whether you have dream inspirations of jobs you've already seen done, you want to look at project pictures that they've done, they can help you go through that process to choose your dream deck, and they can build the right deck at the right price. I kind of like the idea that you can just go on their website, go through different project pictures, look at the maps of those things, and see the kind of work that they've done. So whether you're thinking a fire pit here in a few weeks is going to be lovely, or you want that outdoor kitchen of your dreams to go with the outdoor deck, All Weather Decks can handle all of those projects and so much more. They're a 24-time winner of Angie's List Super Service Award and are ready to give you a free estimate today. Give them a call, 913-206-1974, or online at allweatherdecks.net.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay's Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow. Football season's in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. And you can select entries and win money right now, today, in the state of Missouri. And playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get all your entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. I love combining selections from multiple games into one entry. That's how I play on the Underdog app. So download the Underdog app today, sign up with the promo code BOB to secure $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code BOB to score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 and over and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today. 816-412-6299.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan during halftime or overtime. From spinning slots to instant scratch-style cards, it's like running the perfect play, all from home. New players score a free welcome bonus and daily logins with a shot at some serious prizes every time you play. Get in the game and visit ChumbaCasino.com today. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Lowe's knows how to help make your home holiday ready for less. Get Select Style Selections vinyl flooring for just $1.99 per square foot and have it installed before the festivities begin. Our team can help you every step of the way. See a Lowe's Red Vest associate or visit Lowe's.com/holiday install to get started. Lowe's, we help, you save. Basic install only. Date restrictions apply. Subject to availability. Installed by independent contractors. See associate for details. Contiguous U.S. only.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products or compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 12 minutes or so. Also, Nate Taylor, 1 o'clock hour from ESPN, going to join us in studio. We'll get right back into the Chiefs. Talk a little bit more about this offense. We'll obviously revisit the Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice convo that we were having as well. Talk a little bit more about this offensive line performance, which anytime that there's not like a huge focus on people saying, hey, why aren't you talking about the O-line? It's usually a good sign. It's a great sign. The text line's not, we're not talking about Juwan Taylor.
It was the best performance in a year and a
By the
half.
way, congrats to Juwan Taylor. I did see the news that I believe he proposed to now his fiance. That one's correct.
So Creed had
that one's correct.
Oh, different.
Not to be confused with the Creed Humphrey thing that
I tell you right now, if he ends up proposing anytime in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to feel really bad.
Yeah.
We're happy, you know? Congrats.
Congrats to Juwan Taylor, though. And congrats on him on having a clean game on Sunday. That was nice to see.
0 penalties, no pressures for Kingsley Suamataia. Simmons, great. Best game Creed's played all week. And that was announced, I think Andy Reid had said that, even in his press conference. It was just the best performance the offensive line had in a while.
Yeah, if you missed our earlier conversation with Creed Humphrey, that is going to be up on, of course, the Odyssey app and podcast up on the Fan 965. We appreciate Creed Humphrey joining us earlier. You mentioned to me something in the break. I haven't seen it come across my timeline. You said there's a report from the Baltimore Sun?
Yeah, report over at the Baltimore Sun saying that Lamar Jackson is unlikely to play against the Texans and could miss up to 2 or 3 weeks, according to his reporting.
I mean,
they're obviously already at a 1-3 start, and we're going to lose that game whether Lamar Jackson stayed in it the rest of the time or not. But Brian Wacker over at the that's his name. That's a real person. I'm not making it up.
If the Steelers don't win the division, then they would have. They might just have butchered the entire season.
It's trending towards a one playoff team AFC North, which would be
They're
crazy.
3-1, 2.5 games up, and Lamar's going to be out for 2 weeks, and the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow. There's no reason the Steelers shouldn't win this division.
I agree. Yeah, it's shaping up where they could be a 10-win football team and win that division. By the way, the Ravens, if it's true he's out for 2 weeks, if it's more, here we go. Texans on Sunday. Then they have the
Can win that with
Rams.
Can't win that.
Then they have a bye, so that helps here. So maybe he truly only misses 2 games. Then it's the Bears, Dolphins, Vikings. It's not the Rams game's the toughest of the bunch.
They can still make the playoffs considering the schedule you just gave me and the fact that he might only miss 2 games.
A lot of it depends on how many teams in the West do you think. Is there going to be 3 playoff teams out of the West again?
I can't decide on the Broncos because defensively they're still one of the better units in the NFL. No one's here to argue that. Man, Bo Nix, he doesn't look very good. So I guess it kind of depends on if he's going to play a lot better. Played better in the second half of that game. So maybe there's a little something there. But still, there's problems with that roster. But it's like between them or the Patriots, it's like, I know that one of those, it's either the Patriots or the Broncos. Those feel like the 7 seeds of the playoffs, don't they?
Oh, wait.
Somewhere, and maybe
Patriots
the Ravens
might be
in
the ones to take that.
They look better offensively, but there's still problems with all those teams. Or 2 teams out of the South going to make it? We think both the Colts and the Jags will be playoff teams?
I do. I still think the Jags end up winning that division. Hopefully it doesn't mean they win on Monday, but I think the Jags win that division. I think both teams are going to make it.
Well, what do you think about the theory from the 816? Maybe Jawan Taylor's problem the first month is that he was nervous about proposing.
Hey, well, if that's the case, good.
Sorry, did he buy the ring?
For
did
years.
he buy the ring 18 months ago? And then has just been thinking about it this whole time? Or
it's been a 3-year-long nervous ride. Yeah. And now everything is good.
Seriously, though, congrats to him.
Yeah,
obviously very
absolutely. Don't forget on Tuesdays, our lunch partner, friends over at Pearl Tavern there in Lee Summit. You could reel in a deal every Tuesday, $2.50 fish and shrimp tacos, $5 house margaritas made with premium Jose Cuervo silver. Pearl Tavern, part of the Summit Hospitality Group. We've got baseball on the televisions in the studio. It's kind of nice to have that. Obviously, I wish we were talking and watching Royals baseball, but Detroit, Cleveland, the first of 4 today. Obviously, it's a best of 3 series, but Detroit up early, 1-0, although they have 2 men on with nobody out in the top of the third. They are threatening to increase their lead. What series excites you the most? I'm intrigued by this one because of what happened down the stretch and all that. Of
course.
But look, Boston and New York, I know
Padres Cubs is probably the most interesting of the opening round ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boston, New York, just because I actually think the winner of look, I don't think the winner of Tigers and the Guardians is going to the World Series. I just don't.
I don't either.
I think the winner of the Red Sox Yankees could win the World Series.
I agree with that sentiment. I think the AL is significantly more open in the sense that I don't think the Blue Jays are an unstoppable juggernaut. I do expect the Mariners to be in the ALCS if you're making me predict. Yeah. But the Padres Cubs one, the NL has that same plausibility of Padres and Cubs can both beat the Brewers in a series. And then they're
Brewers
only one series away.
Postseason track record.
They don't. They have quite a bad postseason track record. I felt like the Cubs, who stumbled there in the middle, had been one of the more fascinating teams and deep teams in baseball. So I like them for a big chunk that way. If you made me guess right now, I would say that it's Mariners, Yankees in the ALCS and Dodgers, Cubs in the NLCS would be my official prediction for what I think takes place. The Dodgers, it's like, I'd love to see, I think so would you, the Reds beat the Dodgers. But, am I ever going to predict that, man? Shohei is pitching and hitting. He's a freak of nature. Again, they know how to play in the playoffs. I just have such a hard time parsing that out. That'd be my official prediction the rest of the way. So I like, if I'm rooting for a team, by the way, it's the Mariners. Go Mariners.
Yeah.
Never won a World Series in their history. Go Mariners. I hope they win the whole damn thing, and it becomes the season of the big dumper. And Cal Raleigh gets World Series MVP. Easy team to root for.
Yeah, the Mariners are. We were talking before the show. I also have Yankees and Mariners in the ALCS, which means it's not going to happen now that you and I both are in agreement on that happening in the ALCS. Let's not forget about the Phillies on the NL side. I think they're still going to be
very good team.
I think the Phillies, in terms of coming up with clutch hits, they've been consistent at doing that throughout the season. I think the hitting, obviously, that they have as well. To me, we're headed towards a Phillies, Dodgers, NLCS. We're gonna have that on the National League side. If you're wondering what the odds say for a World Series champion, the Phillies actually are the favorites right now, plus 450. Mariners 5-1, Dodgers 5.5-1, Blue Jays 6.5-1, Yankees are 7-1 to win the World Series. If you're trying to make a bet for AL winner, Mariners 2-1, Blue Jays plus 270, Yankees 3-1, and then if you're going to take a flyer, you think that Red Sox can beat the Yankees or the Tigers could go on a run or the Guardians. Tigers 8-1, Red Sox 8.5-1, and the Guardians 13-1 as they are already trailing in the third inning of this game.
Are you still? They did get a double play though.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still fascinated in the if Aaron Judge bombs in the playoffs part of the equation?
It's a huge storyline.
It can't not be fascinating anytime there is an all-time great player, and that great player shrinks in the game's biggest moments. His team has never even actually competed for a World Series. They haven't, they got to do an ALCS. I guess they got to the World Series.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they were just there.
But he's been so bad, but they had to be carried part of the way. His consistency of being a top 3 player in baseball, but not being a good playoff performer is interesting. It just is, because it defies logic. Shohei doesn't just not show up in the postseason. He consistently does, like most great players do. I will say, I hate the World Series logo this year. It's so small. Every time I see it, I'm like, why is it all cartoony and weird?
I don't think. Have I seen it?
I don't know. They all look
looks
about
pretty
the same.
good if it's the one that I'm looking at.
At some point, 15 or
see.
I don't like it. Some point, 15 or 20 years ago, both Major League Baseball and the NFL went to homogenous. They all look the same. We just changed the Roman numerals part. It's kind of
the retro Super Bowl logos were the best. I'll give you that for sure. The retro Super Bowl. I'm looking at the World Series one for this year. It's fine. I don't. Yeah, it's fine.
You don't hate it.
It's
You just
fine.
nothing it.
It's fine.
Fine, nothing it. This does. I mean, like going back to the Royals and all this stuff earlier. It's like this does feel like it should have been a playoff team for the Royals this year. And so yeah, it is frustrating to watch the playoffs and not see the Royals in it, especially for the stat we gave yesterday. They scored more runs and gave up less runs than the Guardians, a team actively playing baseball right now. So, it was about records in one-run games, where the Royals had a winning record, but not as good as the Tigers, and not as good as the Guardians, and not as good as Seattle. In retrospect, even though the Royals had a good bullpen, the hitting late really cost them. They had about a 500 record in one-run games. Most of the teams in the playoffs, not all, most of them, and I looked it up, were about 10 games or better in one-run games. So that's it. Is the key to unlock a playoff berth is just win close games? Because in 162 of them, there are a lot.
I mean, the other key is don't have a month of June where you scored, what was it,
Yeah, they finished 10 games below 500.
Honestly, I can't remember. What was it, as low as 10 runs or something? It was something crazy.
Someone says, is it worse than the old 610 logo? No, that's still one of the worst logos in the history of mankind.
That's true. That is I
stand by
true.
that statement. It was, and I was saying that before we had switched logos. I was actively saying that while we were still 610 Sports Radio. I'm just telling you, that logo was 8 different colors and 14 different fonts and 3 different styles. It was hideous.
Yeah, and that's gone now.
But we're the
it's
fan now. I'm pointing at a sign nobody can see on the stream, but there's a giant banner in the building.
Yeah. Coming up in 18 minutes, we'll talk Chiefs football with Nate Taylor. We are keeping an eye on this baseball game as the Tigers have a runner on third with 2 outs.
Who's your World Series winner projection?
I'm going to go with the Phillies.
I'm going to take the Mariners out of heart. I want them to win it, and they're certainly capable of winning it. So I'm just going to take them in a series. I like the idea of Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge in an ALCS.
Oh, it'd be fun.
The 2 top AL MVP favorites dueling it out. It's an interesting
I would like to
series,
see the
but
Brewers get there. I know that's not the sexy team. They great regular seasons, but in the postseason, they struggle. I think a lot of people locally will be rooting for the Padres with Freddie Fermin a little bit, and that's cool as well. But let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
Random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Text line 913-586-7965. Of course, remind you, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We live stream the show every single day right there over on the video streams. But let's talk about a new show that's coming out and whether or not we're interested in doing it. I understand that Ted Lasso was a massive television success. And obviously they're going to come out with a 4th season now based on that success. And there's a reason why it would have been crazy to think that it was going to work at the time it did. Is anybody going to watch? That's my question today. Is anybody going to watch this Chad Powers series on Hulu?
No.
I think Glenn Powell is an excellent actor. And that part is making me wonder if I'm wrong for thinking I don't want to watch this Chad Powers series, which, like Ted Lasso, is based off of one essentially commercial-based internet thing.
Yeah, with
That
Manning.
now we're trying to, with Eli Manning, that we're trying to turn into a series. I don't know how they convinced Glenn Powell to take this job. and I'm not sure why Hulu is pushing it so hard on me. I'm just curious
because
if
they're
anyone's
hoping it's their
planning
Ted
on
Lasso.
watching.
Because they're hoping it's their Ted Lasso.
So you're saying you're a no. But if everyone said it was great, you'd probably watch it.
Of course, because
But
the
initially, you're not on.
initial concept and the pilot for Ted Lasso, I'm sure if you told people that idea, like you just did with this, people probably would have said that show's going to stink, and it's turned out to be one of the most popular shows and feel-good shows that have been out there over the last couple of years. Ted Lasso.
Is it going to have heart Chad Powers?
I don't know. Let's put it this way: I'm not. Someone's going to have to watch the debut episode for me and be like, "No, it's actually pretty good." That's how it'll have to go down for me, probably.
Someone over on the YouTube chat, Trey, says Glenn Powell's an awful actor. You're crazy. Well, I like Glenn Powell.
He's fun.
Do you like him in Top Gun Maverick?
Yes.
I liked him in that Netflix original show when he was playing like a former, like as an undercover, like a regular guy who becomes like an undercover cop. I thought that was, I can't remember the name of the movie now. I'm never going to remember that. But I thought he was fine in the Twisters reboot.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, that was fun. I mean,
original's better, I'm assuming.
Well, I'm nostalgic to the original, That's a tough spot. You and I remember the original Twister being this, and of course the graphics aged horribly. Hitman, that was the
Oh, I have seen that then.
So that was the Netflix related one. So I don't know. I think Glenn Powell's pretty good. But that show looks awful. And I think that we should establish that. But I don't remember. I kind of felt like I felt that way about Ted Lasso. I'm like, are you serious? You turned this into an entire television series? And I didn't catch it right away. I waited for it to show up. And then eventually people were like, yes, it's very good. Some other people are saying he was good in Running Man as well, Glenn Powell. Is he only in remakes?
I mean, no.
Twisters? Maybe there are only remakes made in Hollywood for that point.
There's a lot of those these days.
So maybe that's part of it.
Let's see, Glenn Powell. I was trying to see what other recent movie would come up.
He is in, let's see, Anyone But You. Didn't see it. Twisters. I'm on his IMDb page now. Hitman. Top Gun Maverick.
Dark Knight Rises, obviously, but that was not a big role. I don't think so.
No. I don't know.
He's fun. He's fun.
He's fine. Drew, you gonna watch it?
He's a fine actor.
Verdict?
No, we already know what the story is. Like we already from the whole Eli Manning stuff. Like we already know what it is. I don't need to watch it.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say it's a pretty classic television and movie trope to have person
I'd
dress
rather
up.
Eli Manning have done it. To
not
be honest
like
with
themselves, or dress up like like in Ladybugs, and he dress up like a female soccer player. It's a pretty classic trope. It obviously works. I'm in disguise. Somebody finds out my secret. They help me keep my secret. I just think, why did you take a TV, a commercial thing with Eli Manning and try to turn it into
Because I think
a
they can make some money
television
off of it, and people will be intrigued by it. I have a different random question I want to spin on you.
Sure.
I didn't do it yesterday. I got a few DMs about it, and I said, let me wait another day. Let me check it out, and you'll know why I waited another day in a second. I was like, I got to wait another day to make sure it just wasn't lighting and stuff like that. Multiple people on the text line watching the video stream as well over the last on the Twitter DMs the last couple days. People are asking me to ask you, and I'm looking and I'm staring at your hair as well.
Is it weird?
Did you dye your hair?
No. Hair's the
People
same.
think your hair is dark.
Dusty asked the exact same thing over here this morning, and I was like, I
People
don't know.
think your hair is way darker. I noticed it yesterday. I got a DM yesterday as well.
Wait, but you're saying you noticed it in real life?
Yeah. Well, yes, right, yes, yes, and so I'm just we're right across from each
Dusty
other.
walked into the side studio before we started today and asked if you dyed your hair.
I
just
changed shampoos recently.
Well, maybe it's
in
doing
the last
something for
2
you.
weeks.
It look either that or it's just not. It's not as short. Something. I agree
It's
with
definitely
people.
a little longer.
It looks darker.
So maybe
does your hair just get way darker as it's longer?
I don't know. Not that I've ever noticed.
The
I'm not
sides
saying
look
that.
very dark.
I mean, you take the headphones off, I guess. I don't know. It looks like my hair.
I think it looks.
I've
a little
never
darker.
dyed it.
Okay. People are so. Text
I feel like
line
this
saying
is the
touch of gray.
normal-
Someone says touch of gray.
Touch of gray.
No, it's all the way
if I
around.
go gray, I'm just going to go gray. I've already long established that.
I got one DM yesterday, around
multiple people
at 10,
asked if I
got
was
a DM
dyeing
yesterday.
my hair.
I got a DM at 10:30 yesterday after the first segment. I'm like, and then so if you noticed, you probably didn't notice, but I was like, so then I was trying to look throughout the show yesterday. I'm like, I go, maybe it's just one day. No. Then I came in today, and of course now it's all I can. Now
it's all you can think about.
Now
is
I'm
that
like,
my hair's dark.
now I'm like,
darker to
it's
you.
very dark.
No,
Maybe
not,
it's
not,
a length
not for,
thing.
not,
I
I
do
didn't
for a
notice
haircut.
anything. I don't
See,
know
when
if
you
it's
get
a
your
lighting
hair
thing
cut,
or
I'll be
not.
curious if then it's like, okay, no, I wonder if it's just it's very long. But yeah, there was a few people that agreed.
I didn't notice anything.
Someone says
in
just
both
for
ends.
men is still dyeing your hair, Cody.
I'll be honest with you. I'm an open book on
Some
this
magic
show.
shampoo then.
I'm an open book on this show.
What shampoo do you use? Like what's the new one? 'Cause
Okay,
you said
so
you changed it.
So here's the thing. I don't have like a really strong preference of shampoo other than when I get used to using one, I like to use it forever. I'm bad. I would probably just buy the same shampoo and use it forever. My wife, whose shampoo I share with, we don't get like two different versions.
Yeah.
She changes it a lot, constantly in search of like the better shampoo. And so she recently, in like, I don't know, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, we ran out of the other one. This one started up. And I've been using it, but it's a regular shampoo. It
doesn't say like, a color or something or whatever.
I don't think so. I think it's just.
Is it a shampoo and conditioner? Like is it a mix?
What,
Is it a
mix? I'm 41 years old.
just asking.
Use separate I don't use an all-in-one shampoo, conditioner, body wash. No, separate shampoo and conditioner.
Okay.
It seems like
someone else says it does look darker. I'm not saying you would know if you dyed your hair. I'm just saying.
I would know if I dyed my hair.
I said something because at first I was like, I'm not going to ask, and then when I got more, I was like, okay.
Maybe it's just got some extra sheen. Maybe this has been just
It's just better shampoo.
Maybe it's just a better shampoo. Maybe it's been a kind.
Is it hair? Maybe it's just your hair's thicker.
No, it's the same kind. I don't know. It's like regular shampoo.
Say,
it's not like a thickening
if the shampoo is making your hair.
Someone says maybe
thicker,
Cody's wife is slipping in hair coloring. Yeah, can you imagine? Why would
wild.
I wasn't gray.
That
it was
would be
like
crazy.
She would just be changing it from a lighter color brown to a darker color brown. Yeah. I don't have like a ton of gray hairs at the moment.
What did Dusty? You said Dusty said something?
Dusty walked over here and was like,
"What's going on?" I had no idea.
Coloring it.
I asked. People were asking, so I asked.
Darker. This many people saying it cannot be a coincidence.
I do for whatever the reason is, it looks darker.
Interesting. I had no idea.
I'm not saying it looks bad. It just looks darker.
I mean, starting to worry I'm looking like when who was it? Jason Kelce dyed his for like a TV commercial or something.
Did you see what outfit he was wearing yesterday too?
Oh, on set for the Monday night. Yeah. He's obviously he's a character. Some said we changed the lights in the studio. No, we have not changed the lights in the studio.
All he needed was some glasses and a pipe, and he was attempting to be Sherlock Holmes, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't.
Ask your wife when you go home. I'm curious what she. I wish we should have had a plan where we would have called her up real quick
and ask her if she thinks I'll just text her. Let's just see if she thinks my hair looks darker. She'll answer.
It would be funny if she was like, "Well, I have been."
Well, I did buy some shampoo for myself, and sorry, Cody, you're using it as well, so you're in this one with me as well.
I think I was with her.
Someone says it's a toupee. It's not a toupee.
It's my regular hair.
I have a toupee. It's the same style of hair and everything. It's not a toupee.
Also, just get I don't know. I mean, I guess it's cheaper to probably get a toupee, but it's like, if you're that desperate, it feels like you're saving the money for transplants. I will ask her if she thinks my hair looks darker.
That's a random question of the day. I felt was a good time to ask.
That is a good time to ask. And the fact that you didn't know that Dusty was also asking if I was dyeing my hair.
Yeah. There you go. I asked people that were asking. I asked.
I'm more than one DM you got?
Yeah, 2. One yesterday, and then one this morning. He said, "Are you going to ask?" And I said, "All right, fine."
I will, when I get home, investigate the shampoo bottle further.
Please take a photo of the shampoo bottle
so we know what kind it is. So we can find out exactly what it is.
All right, up next, we're going to be joined by Nate Taylor. We'll talk some Chiefs football with our Chiefs insider from ESPN. I want to ask him about the wide receiver room now, obviously the offensive line, and looking ahead a little bit to the rest of the NFL and how it impacts the Chiefs next.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Chris Jones. You're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, almost Andy Reid here. It's been an honor to give back to the community that's embraced me being almost your head coach. Thanks for letting me be part of your team. Renner Garage Door is a teammate of mine that also values the community that they served for decades, always giving back and delivering wins with top brands like Geldon, Amar, and LiftMaster. Need a repair or replacement? Get a free estimate today. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
BetMGM is inviting you to charge the field this pro football season. Existing BetMGM customers can have a ball without having to sweat. Log into your account to get a pro football no sweat token. Apply the token to your next pro football bet. If you lose with the token attached, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. That's right. With a no sweat token, you get your stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's nothing like a fresh set of downs. And that's just what BetMGM is offering if you don't win with a no-sweat token. Find your favorite matchup and be part of the action. Make this pro football season one for the ages. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Every big play starts with a first down, and every financial future starts with the right partner. Main Street Credit Union is not-for-profit and member-owned, which means we invest in you with guidance that's clear, tools that make sense, and people who actually listen. We're here to help you move the chains. Whatever your next move is, auto loan, savings goal, or paying off debt, let's make it one play at a time. Visit MainStreetCU.org to get started.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Prostate cancer. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed in their lifetime, but early detection can save lives. That's where KCUC comes in. They're the premier center for urology and oncology, with over 50 elite providers and more than 20 locations across the metro. KCUC makes it easy to get screened fast in the comfort of an office, not a hospital. Schedule your screening today at kcuc.com. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. kcuc.com. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan during halftime or overtime. From spinning slots to instant scratch-style cards, it's like running the perfect play, all from home. New players score a free welcome bonus and daily logins with a shot at some serious prizes every time you play. Get in the game and visit ChumbaCasino.com today. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Lowe's knows how to help make your home holiday ready for less. Get Select Style Selections vinyl flooring for just $1.99 per square foot and have it installed before the festivities begin. Our team can help you every step of the way. See a Lowe's Red Vest associate or visit Lowe's.com/holiday install to get started. Lowe's, we help, you save. Basic install only. Date restrictions apply. Subject to availability. Installed by independent contractors. See associate for details. Contiguous U.S. only.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey guys, did you know that prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in American men? That's right. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in American men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Early prostate cancer often has no symptoms, which makes regular screenings key. The 5-year survival rate is nearly 100% when caught early. So get checked early and often. If you're a man over 50 or 45 if African American or with a family history, you should talk to a doctor about screening. A prostate cancer diagnosis can be scary, but no one should fight alone. Join us in raising awareness and saving lives. Don't wait. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Listen to the Chiefs and Jaguars on Monday night with pregame starting at 4. Kickoff at 7:15 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour on a Tuesday here in KC. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Earlier today, we did air what Matt Quattrero and JJ Picollo had to say about this 2025 season and looking ahead to 2026. We reacted a little bit to some of the news there. Tomorrow, we'll bring back some more of that and talk some of the other offseason decisions they're going to make. We will certainly have Josh Vernier's perspective on that. He's actually going to be our Fan Club Friday guest. Feels like it's a good one for
way to
Friday.
wrap.
So Vern will be in studio, and we'll talk some more Royals baseball with him then as well.
Nate, do you think my hair looks darker than normal?
It's a random
Did you
question
hear
today.
this?
So Nate Taylor obviously is in studio. We're going to talk some
Everyone's
Chiefs
telling me
football.
there's multiple people now saying my hair looks darker.
I got
It does.
Okay.
What?
Yes.
What's going on?
It does.
I got multiple messages yesterday, and it turns out I guess Dusty said something as well. And
Drew?
a few people were watching on the stream, and they're like, you know what? It does. And
couldn't tell too much of a
he
difference.
said he changed shampoos, but like not to.
At least I didn't notice.
Do you think
it.
that that's it?
Maybe.
It's darker.
It is.
I wish we had a true side by side.
Well, we have a stream 4 hours every day. We just go back 2 months and look.
Because I tried to go to Friday because it changed from. I noticed it yesterday. Friday he was wearing a hat, so I couldn't.
Right. Not a great look.
No.
No, I don't know if it's just because we have now officially starting to enter fall.
Oh,
Maybe I'm outside less.
Maybe. Yeah. Hey, maybe maybe that you've got some football, maybe you had a couple beers. I don't know,
or is it just were you cutting your hair way shorter before? Now you're letting it grow out, so it's showing
It's
more.
this is about the normal
luscious.
range in which I would normally. This is about the
Luscious.
normal range I would normally get a cut. So
wonder
I'll
if
probably
it-
get one sometime this week. So we'll see when I get a cut.
You
Yes.
said the shampoo change. I wonder if it's making your hair thicker, which as a result is making it look darker. I mean, that might actually be the reason.
I don't have any idea. It's
But
just,
it wouldn't work. You said it wouldn't work in 2 days if it was just hair thickening shampoo.
I don't know.
see, it's not
I
a
don't
miracle
know.
cure.
I don't know.
That quick?
I don't know.
If it's
My
just-
wife hasn't responded yet, so I can't tell you about the shampoo yet.
I told him to ask his wife, like, hey, what kind of shampoo are we using here? What's going on? We're going to find out it has some, color, I don't know what they call
enhancements.
it. Fast or whatever it is. Anyway.
But she's also using it. It's not like she's trying to make her hair darker.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, that's why the body is so interesting. People can eat the same thing, have totally different
right.
results.
That's right, Nate.
It's
That's exactly
it's just
right.
a beauty of life, my
And
friend.
you can get one of your better playmakers back on offense, and everything can look different, too.
What a difference.
Woo! I mean, my God.
Now, I will say the Ravens' defense is definitely a part of that. So we can establish that right away. That's at least part of why you look way better. Sure.
Yes, this is one of the few times, ladies and gentlemen, where I could say with full-throated confidence that I was right.
Feels good, doesn't
It
it?
feels so good. I was, as you guys know, I'm on with Carrington on Friday. We got the full injury report.
Yeah.
I talked to my buddy Jameson, who covers the Ravens for us at ESPN, and it was just made very clear to me that, not only is this team banged up, but I've watched enough film of that previous game against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. I was just like, and you're telling me, based on what I had heard from the Chiefs' perspective about Xavier Worthy and the fact that, he could have done much of the same the week before in New York.
They just didn't need him.
Yeah, and it was just, hey, we're just going to be extra careful. Another week will do you nothing but more good in terms of the recovery process and getting you ready to play. Plus, the coaching staff can take a little bit more time in terms of how they want to utilize you with obviously another game on film. I think they made the wisest decision, of course. We saw that Tracy had his own shoulder injury. The turf the very next week takes out Malik Neighbors for the season.
Yep.
I completely agree with Odell Beckham. So, hey, cooler heads prevailed. You made the right decision, even though Xavier Worthy thought he was going to play against the Giants, and he basically told us such after the game on Sunday. So I was right because not only were they banged up entering the game, but they didn't look like a unit in cohesiveness, communicating, coming off the ball well. I know much of their defensive line is already decimated with injuries. So when you don't have anything to scout ahead of time with Xavier Worthy outside of like a handful of preseason snaps, and you're at home, the Chiefs had the extra day of rest, of course. They needed the game just as much as Baltimore. I just felt like, for whatever reason, this is one of the few times where I didn't understand why Vegas, I think all the way up to kickoff, still had them as like a 2.5 point favorite. And I just kept
the Ravens have been favored since week 2 of last season.
Yeah,
my point was always
I didn't understand it.
My point from the beginning last week, this is one of the times we felt like we were really right on the show, is that the Chiefs offense was a lot closer to being the Ravens offense than the Ravens defense being the Chiefs defense.
Right.
If you look at all the underlying numbers, I know points per game were still the same disparity between the two. But if you looked at all the underlying numbers, the Chiefs were closer to performing like the Ravens offensively than the other way around. The Ravens defense had shown no ability to stop anyone. And it certainly didn't like pick up steam against the Chiefs. They walked up and down the field.
Right. And I just want to remind people, as much as we've talked about the offensive line in relation to Patrick Mahomes, the much can be said about Lamar Jackson. Like, he got sacked 7 times, and it wasn't because the Lions did something like super duper elaborate. It was just, hey, they were physically outworking you a lot on those sacks. And with Rodney Stanley having yet another injury, which has kind of been his MO over the last 5 years, it's like, well, if he's not practicing, that does not bode well based on his age, that he's just going to show up Sunday and be awesome. So he didn't finish the game. Obviously, Roquan Smith didn't finish the game.
Marlon Humphrey, they lost guys throughout, but it was already like it was turning towards an ass kicking before the guys started missing.
If Harrison Butker makes the field goal, right after the 2-minute warning, it would be 23-7.
It was a 6-point swing there because they got the field goal right after.
Correct, and based on the short field because you missed, a 56-yarder. So, I mean, if your kicker makes that kick, it's hard to see Baltimore going down the field to get in field goal. You need 50, 40 yards to get in field goal range comfortably within like a minute, and some change and maybe a couple turnovers. It's hard to see based on how Steve Spagnuolo had sort of roped the dope. I thought Lamar Jackson, which is saying it's just one of the more like comically brilliant coaching jobs where it's just
he
like
picked on him.
Like,
He made him so uncomfortable.
Hey man, you can have whatever you want the first drive, whatever you want. Let me just see the formations.
And nobody adjusts after a first drive.
It's crazy.
Quite like Spags. It's nuts.
And then he's like, the moment you get past midfield or get close to midfield, we're lighting your you-know-what on fire, okay? Because I want to remind people, like, they didn't blitz at all. They didn't show any sort of disguised looks. They just said, hey.
Base defense.
This is our base defense, and we're lining up in, 2 deep safeties. And, hey, the middle of the field's wide open for you, Lamar. Not anymore. So, they didn't have really an advantage at the quarterback, the coaching. They maybe had a slight advantage at the running back position, but because the game script changed so quickly in the second quarter, they couldn't use Derrick Henry. He even at one point in time was like, did he get dinged up, a little bit? And he obviously came back.
Justice Hill was playing a lot more than him.
He was. And so, even that fourth and 1 play, Derrick Henry's not on the field.
That was weird.
And so, again, that goes to coaching. Was there something going on with Derrick Henry in terms of could he be out there, quite a bit? It was an overwhelmingly outstanding performance for the Chiefs when, hey, a team is still talented, but going through their own sort of struggles, just like you are. You want to see, an actual 60-minute performance, and you got pretty close to that for this team now, understanding that they're the team that's trending towards the healthier group compared to their AFC rival that, they've had the upper hand for quite a bit of time now.
Offensively, yes, Worthy being out there clearly changed everything for this team. When you look at how they utilize the running backs, though, in the game, what do you take from that moving forward for the rest of the year? We know they're going to, at the wide receiver level, they'll get Rashee Rice at some point. Yep. The running backs are the running backs, though. Brashard Smith, we saw a little uptick in his opportunities, and it was promising when he was on the field. It seemed like good things happened when he was on the field. Do you think this is just the start of him becoming the legit third down back for them? Where are we at?
I don't think third down back necessarily, guys. Now, I might be a little ahead of the trend, and so I'm saying this to inform everybody as to where the trend might go. It was around, if people remember, it was around mid-October that I told you guys, metrically, advanced statistics-wise, and per the eye test, that Clyde Edwards-Helaire should lose his starting job to Isaiah Pacheco. And one of the reasons I said that was because not only was there a speed factor, but there was an elusiveness and a toughness element that allowed him to break tackles at a higher success rate. The Chiefs made that change either right around the 49ers game or thereafter, and the offense literally became the best offense in football. Obviously, the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if that is necessarily replicable here, but what you notice is Kareem Hunt is their best third down back. And the 3rd and 6 play to the outside, Mahomes manipulating the space, Kareem knowing exactly what to do. Man, that's the first time where it was like, oh, Jerick McKinnon would do exactly that. I don't know if Samaje Perine would do that, but okay. Kareem has clearly been with Patrick enough and now being within the offense for a full year now that, hey, he knows what to do on third down, protecting the blitzes. He's gotten a little bit better at that. What is interesting about Rashard Smith is he's breaking tackles.
Yeah, that was nice to see. A running back break tackles.
And now it's up to Todd Pinkston, the assistant running back coach, who was a former NFL receiver, to improve this man's timing, eyes, and catching ability out of the backfield. The moment that happens, and then you can start to use the screen game with him involved, beyond just the explosiveness and the juice that we see from the backfield, it allows you to think this is not going to be what I thought the season was, which is, hey, this is the best time for Isaiah Pacheco based on the year 4 of a rookie contract, coming back fully healthy after the injury last year, telling us on numerous occasions that his goal was 1,000 yards. Guys, we can scrap that now.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't know if it'll be necessarily a 50-50 split with Kareem as your short yardage, third down, occasional sort of funky formations. If you want if you want 2 running backs on the field along with 2 tight ends, they could use that a little bit more, I honestly believe, with Pacheco or Rashard Smith. I just think now it's getting to a point where I don't know if he'll earn the starting job, but he's definitely going to have to be someone that the Chiefs really cultivate and accentuate and develop over the course of the season to where he might be getting just as many touches as Isaiah Pacheco.
I thought what was really interesting about it is in the first half, they all made mistakes. Pacheco on the screen pass, goodness, it was all set up.
It was, and he knows it too. That's the thing. Like, Pacheco is in such a funk right now that I remember putting the dots up within minutes of the play and just being
they had 2 athletic offensive linemen and nobody in front.
And you want to see why people don't want to go into coaching. Because that took hours, guys. Physical hours, time, knowing the exact moment, the exact spot on the field, the exact timing, and he doesn't catch the football.
But the second that it seemed like, so he makes that mistake, Brashard maybe, he drops one in the flat. It seemed like everyone, stumble a little bit.
Yep.
The second Smith started to look good. That was the best Pacheco looked all. You're like, okay, my job. I felt like the best he looked all game was like, I might be at a little bit of a risk here, and I better. Maybe it was the drop pass that motivated him.
I think it's both. I think it's all encompassing.
He played a lot better, really, after that moment. And that's the whole thing. It's like, look, I've seen every week I got to watch another play, and there was another one this week where you're like, why did you go to the inside? Why didn't you go to the outside? Just on the running plays. His vision in the running game is a problem because now the offensive line's playing well.
Right.
The problem is they're not giving you any space to operate. That was the best game the offensive line's played all season. Maybe the best game the offensive line's played in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
no penalties for Juwan Taylor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no pressures from Kingsley.
Correct.
Simmons, I didn't even notice a single guy get past him once. Andy said it, and he was right. It was Creed's best game.
Correct.
It was just the best game from the offensive line.
Right, and you could tell they were picking up the blitzes better or better anticipating it with Mahomes, right? So even if there's a free rusher... based on the math, 6 against 5.
Or even just he backed off on that free rusher and just dropped one into Kelce.
I was just about to say, hey, 5 on 6. That's okay. That's fine. But based on where I know where he's coming and everything's blocked up, let me just throw one of the most audaciously ridiculous passes you'll see all season. It won't get the sort of highlight love it deserves. But guys, I cannot tell you with a free runner going backwards, no stepping into the throw, no proper footwork, just a lot of flick of the wrist and like pristine timing and execution with like your favorite teammate in Travis, because you guys have been doing it for years, and places it beautifully. I mean, layers the ball, doesn't put too much on it, but also puts enough air on it to let the tight end run under it. I mean, it's a gorgeous play. The defender has no chance on Kelce in trail position to not only locate the ball, but to do something, right? To actually make a defense on the pass. It's an incredible throw. It's probably his best throw all year when you look at, again, circumstances, situation. And once he made that throw, he sort of took off.
Yeah, he was in. He was locked in after that.
And then again, so if the offensive line is playing well, and based on the personnel that you're going up against because the Ravens have injuries, sometimes I think Pacheco, it's like a hitter, right? And I don't want to make too much of a comparison here, but everybody understands that like sometimes the situation is 3-1. Please throw me a fastball. Why he throw me a changeup? It's like, hey, okay, I'm 0-2. He's not gonna throw anything, up and in. Oh, why is he doing that? So there's a lot of times where I feel like, to your point, Cody, it's blocked up. And it's like, all right, do what it says on paper. And he's like, so I want eagerness, so like ready to go that like, yes. Like, well, we would actually like patience there because it's blocked up properly. And then other times it's like, well, maybe it's not the exact angle, the exact running lane that's like on the paper, on the whiteboard.
It's a touch thing. It's a tough thing to teach feel.
Swing. The ball's in the strike zone. Swing. Like if the lane's there, even if it's not on paper, like, this is a team sport. Like they might not be blocking it perfectly for you, but they are blocking it successfully. So make the most of it for your teammates. He's for some reason, again, in a funk, and it's a lot of like, okay, he backdoor slide, he hit you with the slider backdoor. And everybody in the stands goes, well, he's just standing there. It's the same thing from a running back standpoint where you're like, please just, see ball, hit ball. Try to simplify it as best you can. It was slightly better production-wise, but the real test will come against Jacksonville because they actually create turnovers. And so if Pacheco like fumbles on Monday Night Football, or if there's a little bit more of a, all right, back to 3 yards per carry, and we gave you the ball 10 times. Well, okay, it's somewhat it's justifiable and understandable why Andy might abandon the run more than the average coach or sooner than the average coach would.
We're talking to Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. You guys were mentioning the offensive line there a little bit. We all know what this is. Always good when nobody really wants to talk too much about the O-line. Like Juwan Taylor, nobody's talking about him. That's a great sign.
Yes.
As we said earlier, congratulations to him and his fiance as well.
It looked like a beautiful setup.
I'm sure.
No better time. I believe that was after the game.
It
looked like it based on my eyes, and he was someone who was ready to get out of the locker room quickly.
Yeah,
boys.
good for him. He played great.
Why is that?
Well, I just think he had other engagements too.
I tried to get a different offensive lineman engaged today.
Yeah,
we had Creed Humphrey on, and I said your fiance. He said girlfriend. I was like, oh, that's a oops.
Whoops. I mean, but that tells you. But then you
he said it smooth. He didn't play it weird.
Then you put your hand on your friend's shoulder, and it says that's just a sign of how strong y'all look right now, man. Ain't nothing coming between y'all. I just know.
It's just how confident you seem with each other.
I know what path y'all on. By the way, they're a lovely couple. Like, I know what. Hey, everything's going great, pal.
Yeah, so Juwan Taylor, it was great to see him. Obviously, penalty free.
Yep.
Are we at the point now with Josh Simmons where I'm not saying he's an All-Pro left tackle, but I mean I feel pretty damn good where I don't have to really worry about him.
Boys,
you there?
Let's look into it. Okay, Alex, let's look into it. Now, Jacksonville again. I don't know what to make of this team, guys. So
stealing signs, huh?
They're a good defensive team.
They're pretty good defensively. Now that's a
quarterback, good linebacker play.
That's a collection more so than the individual parts. Now, after Monday Night Football becomes a nice little 2-game stretch for Josh Simmons, and he knows it, and he's been preparing for it, I imagine. Aiden Hutchinson is coming on October 12th. And then, again, on a bit of a short week because you play Sunday Night Football, and then you have the noon kickoff the following week, Max Crosby.
who looked like the best player in the NFL on Sunday.
Oh, my God.
He made things absolutely miserable for the Bears. He actually, like, in all the NFL, he's one of, like, the 5 players that, like, when he's just on one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He does look like, I mean, we talk about a lot of great defensive players because they're on better teams.
Yes.
But he looks every bit as good as Micah Parsons or any of these other great defensive players when he's just on one. And on Sunday against the Bears, he had just decided he was going to be a one-man wrecking crew.
So I got a lot of baseball references in my mind.
It's 1-1, by the way. Guardians did score. There was a review at home plate.
I don't like either one of these teams.
Yeah, Tigers won, Guardians won, top of the 5th.
Yeah, the Mariners are a fun group. So for whatever reason, I got a lot of baseball analogies in my head. Watching Max Crosby on tape reminds me of like the early. I gotta look at this guy's baseball reference plays. It reminds me of Eric Barnes. Everybody remember him with the Oakland A's?
Yeah.
Oh, he was incredible. So this is like early 2000s kids. Like, now I'm not saying Eric Barnes is like an amazing player. He's not the same level as Max Crosby. But for 1 year, Eric Barnes was just doing it in like 2002, 2003, 2004. And the story on him was, man drank a lot of coffee. So much coffee. And that's what it looks like watching Max Crosby. It's like, dude, you are on a caffeinated level similar to everybody else. Yeah. So like he does not come off the field. He switches sides constantly. He knows, similar to like Chris Jones, hey, I can be matchup specific when I want to. So hey, let me test out the young kid early in the game, see what he's got. Maybe I'll give it one of my quote unquote standard pass rushing moves. But I mean, Eric Burns, when he was with the African A's, was running in the outfield like a crazy person, making diving plays. He was crash car style outfielder, guys. Loved him to death back when those Billy Bean, era Oakland A's teams. So when you see Max Crosby on a third down, you're like, okay, he knows it's a passing down. I know it's a passing down. He's clearly going to try to manipulate this one-on-one matchup. And then he stop, man. Just stop, okay? Yeah. Like, if the first and the second move doesn't work, he has a third move? Like, you can just see that a lot of times with the offensive lineman, and the quarterback's like, how are you still doing this? Shouldn't you be tired? A lot of teams will go like, all right, well, let's hurry it up. Let's go 2 minutes. He's like, Max Crosby's like, great, even better, because I know you're passing it. It is just like, if the I know they tried with Christian Wilkinson, but if the Raiders just had competent players around him, like Max Crosby would get more love.
He ought to leave.
And instead, it's Max Crosby and the rest of the Oakland Raiders on defense, which is why they lose games.
Do you think that on the defensive side, do you think that Leo Chenal deserves more credit for being, I don't know, Spag Swiss Army knife?
Yes, he's incredible.
He's formed him into the linebacker instead of like I'm a defensive back and I play linebacker. He's the opposite Sorensen. And I don't mean that as a negative, as in like when he was using Sorensen all over. He's playing DB snaps. He's using them on the edge.
Yep.
He plays straight linebacker in coverage. Like they've just decided, Chenal, we'll find a place to put you on the field. We don't know where it's going to be yet. But it's just pure athleticism. They've just decided they'll just let that play.
He is graduated because they got to spend so much time with Dan Sorensen early in that 2019 to 2020 era. I remember like understanding fans' legitimate concern when the team was like, we love Willie Gay, but like, go test the market.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's a little bit of like trying to project ahead. And Willie Gay was an athletic freak, man, in his prime. And so you're like, they could probably get him back on a 1-year deal. And like quietly, it was like, well, we got Nick Bolton, we got Leo. And you're like, I mean, I think I know what Leo is, Like,
yeah.
Leo looks exactly the way he should play. And from the moment, because he had a little bit more time, because he had a little bit more space, because you weren't giving those snaps to Willie Gay, they didn't draft anybody directly behind him. It just allowed them a lot of time to just experiment. And that's one of the brilliant things about Steve Spagnuolo is, okay, against Shanahan-type offenses, and specifically in that Super Bowl, you're just an edge player today. We're going to do 5 basically defensive linemen, and you're going to wreck the world for George Kittle. Like,
yeah.
You
just got to do pass rush moves, but against a tight end.
Yeah,
so.
And you got to set the edge so hard that George Kittle doesn't want to do this anymore, which is one of his greatest strengths, similar to Rob Gronkowski, is, hey, you can always run it to my side because I'm a really good blocking tight end, and I have the versatility to be good in the receiving game. Okay, well, he'll do that again against Shanahan-style offenses. Last year, in the most ridiculously hilarious manner, told Lamar Jackson, hey, guess what? What you watched in our postseason matchup, that don't matter anymore. That guy's the spy now. So he's not the additional pass rusher coming after you. He's just waiting on you. And you think because the way he looks compared
he's
to the way you look, that like, I'll just beat him to the why he tackled me. He's like, no, because Leo Chenal's an athletic, crazy, maniacal person too. And in the most incredible manner, guys, Lamar, this is one of the few times where he sees the blitz and he knows, okay, here comes Nick Bolton. I got time. It is zero coverage. I know my matchup. There it is, boys. Mark Andrews versus Leo Chenal. And the moment he threw the football, I said, uh-oh. Because I could see it from the press box, the all 22. And I go, uh-oh. And then out of nowhere, Leo Chenal does something we haven't seen in 2 years. Not only does he turn his head, he locates the ball, boxes out Mark Andrews, and makes an incredible catch.
He said in the locker room, he was saying that's something he's really been. He said he's not the best coverage guy, and he said it's something that he's really been working hard on.
That was the only weakness on the scouting report. Like if we entered this season, and I was scouting for your offense going against the Chiefs defense. Okay, when we get to the Leo Chenal section, Swiss Army knife, like you guys said, really versatile, very smart football player. So you got to really work him on routes, and you got to disguise things a certain way based on film. But if we get a certain down and distance, if we get a certain personnel group, I believe our tight end can beat Leo Chenal. I believe our guy can win on wheel routes, which is basically what Mark Andrews did.
Lamar's going to take that every single time.
Every single time. And, Leo Chenal, good tackler, forces fumbles if given the opportunity and space. Decent enough pass rusher that you got to pay attention to him. Can set the edge really well. Can be in the A gap as sort of that mugged up linebacker to help make your protection scheme a little bit confusing, but can also drop into zone coverage and be decent. But if we get him man to man, that's his greatest weakness. Well, that didn't look like the weakness on
not
tape.
at all.
And they didn't get another opportunity to do it for the rest of the game.
Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. Let's get a quick break in. We'll come back. I want to talk about the AFC West, the Chargers charging a little bit. Also look ahead to the Jags a bit more. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Every Kansas City neighborhood has its own buyer preferences and price points. Dawn Sharp at the Sharp Homes team's deep understanding of various neighborhoods means they know exactly what buyers in your specific market are looking for and willing to pay. And then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. Do you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold? Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Google them, Sharp Homes team, and start packing. Hey, Chiefs fans, Crown Royal is the official whiskey of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this season, it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/Royal Rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
Trust, price, and ease of transaction. That is GiveMeTheVin.com. We love to buy cars. People don't trust car buyers. People think the price is going to be wrong, and people think it's going to be a hassle. Trust, price, and ease of transaction. That is what we do at GiveMeTheVin.com, and that's what makes us America's best car buyer. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com right now and get a quote on yours.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk presents the math of more. Here's how it works. When you say yes to more with Straight Talk, you're left with more for all the other good stuff. So getting an unlimited plan starting at just $25 a month equals more savings for your family's weekend adventures. And with a network covered by Verizon, you can share more from wherever you go. It's simple math, really. More equals more with Straight Talk. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. The $25 plan requires a compatible unlocked device and a new line of service. Additional terms apply.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start October 15th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with fast, reliable service 24/7, even weekends and holidays. Already invested in repairs? Save up to $4,500 on a new HVAC system. Schedule today at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, keeping an eye on some postseason baseball. Now, top of the 6th inning in Cleveland. Guardians, Tigers tied up at 1 run. Tigers had that 1-0 lead, and then it was Guardians had a play at the plate. They originally ruled the runner out, and they challenged it, and it was overturned.
Came around from second to score.
That was impressive. That was really impressive. But this is 1-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 6th.
I look at this, I'm just like, you don't want downtown baseball?
Oh, the aerial shot there.
You don't want downtown baseball?
And that's Cleveland.
By the way, today is the day that Jack...
That's Cleveland.
Not unrelated.
I can't confirm. Our downtown is nicer than Cleveland.
Yeah. If you live in Jackson County, today's the day that they're having to vote whether or not to recall Frank White.
Yeah, it is the recall election. That's true.
If they have to put it up on September 30th, do they need a vote?
He's been fighting it.
It's over. It's
okay. I'm just,
I don't know. Voter turnout on this kind of election is usually pretty low. But
correct. But the fact that you have to do it is sort of signifying that not looking great.
Frank, no.
Frank's been nice to me.
He's been nice to me in person.
That's all I can say, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I can say. I have.
He's not been nice to property tax owners.
Nope. He ain't been nice to a lot of people, I've heard. But I ain't in that.
Talk about a 180 on the legacy. My goodness.
I want to bring up something we talked about, a wide receiver earlier, that I think has maybe been under-discussed, or maybe I'm just way off base. Maybe I'm too early in this. So we talk about Rashee Rice in the 4 games he had last year and the rookie season he had. Based on the last 10 to 12 games of Xavier Worthy, including an absolutely great performance on Sunday, should there not be more discussion that he's made an argument for being a wide receiver 1? Or a co-number 1 with Rashee Rice?
It would
His
be.
numbers have been as good as Rashee Rice's 4 games. He's had multiple stretches like that. Should he not be considered for co-number 1? A joint guy, like guys who's like back and forth? Who's the leading receiver in a given week?
I'm willing to hear the argument. I would like to see.
I'd still lean Rice. I'm not saying that.
I would like to see a little bit more evidence. It's nice to have him be as good as the Chiefs thought he would be, even considering the injury on Sunday. Just putting Marlon Humphrey in a deep dark world.
Oh man, was it him that he put that?
Yes,
that he put
yes,
that.
The
move to the
clip
outside?
you're talking about. Yes,
that was tough.
So
that's ankle breaking stuff. Usually talk about
and I
NBA.
think Andy's correct when he says about like you can really tell the year 1 to year 2 connection with Mahomes in terms of like what to expect. Them both seeing the coverages the certain way, the same way. Again, they're gonna face on paper, even though it doesn't have as many names, a better defense on the road Monday against the Jaguars. So let's see how that looks. I don't think anyone was expecting, more than 100 all-purpose yards. He's a great. He and Rashee Rice are a great addition to the running game because the Chiefs can just always throw the ball, and this is where the Matt Nagy effect comes into play. I just want to make everybody aware of that too. But when you have someone like Rashee Rice, we could just throw you the ball behind the line of scrimmage. So there was a lot of talk, and I understand that about, okay, well, if you're seeing shell coverages, if they're worried about Worthy taking it over the top, if you have Kelce, if you have Juju Smith-Schuster, who are capable blockers in the open field, then you could just throw it to Rashee Rice every time, and that is essentially a long handoff. And as we've seen so far, Rashee Rice might be more capable of breaking a tackle or two in space than Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt. So they are both pluses to the run game. The Chiefs play the Denver Broncos twice. If Xavier Worthy performs well with the complement of Kelce and Rashee Rice and Thornton and the mix of Juju Smith-Schuster, then I'm willing to lean more towards your argument. I still think Rice, based on his postseason performance, and we're getting further and further away from that. But the funny thing about that 2023 season is he was just learning same way Xavier was last year.
He was better his rookie year. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and there was nobody else. Every defense knew, it's either going to him or Kelce, and he was still super duper productive. So I still think Rashee Rice has the ability to be a top 20 receiver, maybe top 15.
It's shaping like A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith from a couple of years ago. It's
would
shaping
be great.
up to
That would
look
be
like
great.
that.
That'd be an amazing setup.
Depends on
what?
Rice's ability, but it's shaping up like it very much could look like that.
And you know what? They have a better quarterback and a better
They're gonna
offensive
actually get the ball to
scheme.
them.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown's on an undefeated team.
That Eagles offense has
A.J.
been unfun to
He
watch.
didn't complete a pass the entire half.
A.J. Brown's on an undefeated team, and he's out here every week tweeting how miserable he is. It's crazy.
And by the way, this is a man who also, by the way, has won a Super Bowl, played great in that game, been to another one, and his former team had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill with nobody else, and even now he's like, I don't know, dog. Win is cool, but I'm out here working, guys.
They have 2 halves of football with negative passing yards in the second half. They're 4-0, so I mean, credit
And
to
they're
them.
so talented, top to bottom, on the roster that it honestly does not matter.
They might be the 20. It'll end up being last year's Chiefs, as in they'll finish 15-2, and everyone will be like, I don't even like watching that team play football. Because like the Chiefs did feel that way towards the end.
But I would fully expect it though, because again, they do have a very good coach in Vic Fangio. I want to make that clear. Their offensive scheme is very simplified, but they got the horses, man. They got the dudes. Like Saquon is never going to have a season like he had last year, but he's still top towards running back production, especially when, you know, they even showed the finally, it's like they showed the wrinkle to the tush push on Sunday. I mean, it's all set up there. I mean, Goddard's a really good player. Like, I mean, it's not great, guys. What
about the West, Nate?
Well,
the Chargers charge it a little bit already.
They look like a team that had kind of
who has no offensive lineman.
That too, but but they showed up in the first quarter like, we got it, we good. Like, now they got into a little bit of like schedule unluckiness because the Chiefs did get Russell Wilson, and the Chargers got like, they're actually
more athletic.
They're gonna let him throw the ball. Oh, that's cool. Oh, he can run. Oh, he's gonna try to run me over too, like Patrick Mahomes. So Jackson Dart showed off what he can do, and that was fun. And but even when Malik Neighbors went out, it wasn't like all of a sudden they were just like, okay, well now we'll focus. He doesn't have a clear number one option like the Chiefs took away the week before. In fact, Jackson Dart and the offense still moved the football well. So. Joe Alt's injury is pretty massive because he is such a good player, and he moved obviously from right to left to start the season due to another injury.
But he'll be back though, right? They're saying it's a high ankle sprain.
2 to 4 weeks, or maybe longer.
But I mean, for an offensive lineman though,
who's playing out of position, can I just point that out?
Yeah, that could be 5 to 6. I mean, I'm always a little bit leery when they're like 2 to 4 immediately, and you're like.
That's quick.
I mean, I've had a high ankle sprain, and I'm not playing professional football, so sure. I mean, now I don't get the necessary treatments and the best medical staff that money can have, but but there's only so many limitations that the body can do. So again, and based on his value to your team in November, December, I would actually say take the 5 to 6. Mm-hmm. Like you can manage it because you had such a good start to the season. They should have won. But yeah, they went up against a legitimate pass rush, and that's what happens, man. Like some of this is matchup based, some of this is not being ready to go when the game starts. And I thought that I talked to Carrington about this too on Friday. I thought, hey, 10, 11 wins definitely out there. But their schedule gets a little tricky towards the end of the year, which could make this AFC West race really interesting.
It's probably too early, 4 games into the season. I'm already just like, all right, it's between the Chiefs and the Bills. Write the Ravens off. Lamar's going to miss a couple of weeks. I never took the Chargers serious, and then now they just lost to the Giants and don't have offensive line play. And I'm like, well, even if you were thinking maybe Cincinnati's coming back, well, no Joe. So it's like, I might just be down to the Bills versus Chiefs at Orchard Park in January and just pencil it in.
I understand. Yes, you can do that. I would obviously be intrigued by that. You know, that's the last time they're going to play in that stadium, guys. I don't know if the Bills are going to be the 1 seed, but hey, they have the potential.
Their schedule's a joke.
They have the potential to host the AFC Championship game, which will be their final game in Highmark Stadium.
The last win in that stadium.
I'm just saying. It's a possibility if you get there. I still think Denver's frisky. Okay, Indianapolis also
defense is good.
Yeah,
Benito's a stud.
Indianapolis also has a schedule that makes it tricky. I don't know what to make of Jacksonville. I've said that like every 10 minutes. I have no idea what to make of them.
They are a better team playing better defense, Trevor Lawrence
a lot of turnovers.
And Trevor Lawrence looks equally as mediocre as ever. And so I'm like, kind of thought if they were going to be 3-1 this year, I would have told you, Liam Cohen finally unlocked Trevor Lawrence out of the mediocrity.
Right.
And it hasn't been that at all.
It's actually been ETN just doing awesome stuff.
Brian Thomas has been
he's there.
Quiet.
Yeah, well, that's partly to the quarterback. Can I interest you in the 3-1 Pittsburgh Steelers?
No.
Oh
I still don't think they're any good. They're going to win that. They might win that division, and I still don't think they're that good. They're going to be the 4 seed, possibly host a playoff game, and they're going to lose to the Chargers as the 5 seed.
Okay, hey, I'll be there. I'll be ready to watch. You know, which we know this could be
They'll win
similar
10 or
to
11 games because they're the Steelers.
I mean, Mike Tomlin still
enjoy it.
Still do it.
Yeah.
Hey, if you give Mike Tomlin a functional, living, breathing quarterback, I get you 10 wins. With my eyes closed.
Yeah, and no, he's a hell of a coach. It's just they've beat Justin Fields and Joe Flacco for 2 of their wins.
And Carson Steele, or not Carson, Carson Wentz.
Yeah, sorry, not Flacco. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Carson Wentz and Justin Fields.
In retrospect, just since you mentioned Flacco, it's first all the Sanders Shadur stuff was he didn't want to back up behind Lamar Jackson. He didn't have a chance to start.
He's starting this week.
He didn't have a chance to start this week.
And that's
how
why,
much longer can the Browns start Joe Flacco? I mean, seriously.
I think after the bye, they play in London, and then they'll
come home.
They'll Gabriel after that.
Yeah. Time to go to the next.
Okay, if I don't want to do this, but if I could, I'd actually play Joe Flacco the whole year. Protect both of those kids. It ain't worth it.
Don't you need to find out though?
You
if
ain't
you got
going.
anything?
I'll find out next year. We ain't going nowhere
with a new coaching staff.
Let them battle it out.
Just get as high a draft pick. Let this be Joe Flacco, Swang Tong. He'll make it interesting. He'll play occasionally well in November, December, but I don't know if it makes the roster doesn't I don't know if it
Tillman's
makes sense.
out now too.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense to play either one of those kids, and that's why it's always tricky. Because and I love Deion Sanders and I understand their perspective because that's a franchise quarterback. But I would also say that situation is far better at actually teaching, developing your son. What is Cleveland going to do for you that has demonstrated anything over a 2-decade period versus going to one of the most respected, well-developed, good coaching staff, awesome quarterback, someone who won't be threatened. I'm not saying it's the same as the Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation, but it could be a little bit of hey, this will be the better version of the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation where it's hey, at least Lamar would talk to him.
If you look good, someone will trade for you.
Yes.
That's just the way it works.
And by the way, having your body develop too matters. I think as much as the mental acuity was a big thing for Patrick, you are preparing for college football, then you're preparing for what we call the draft, which is not football, and then they throw you out there in week 4, and we're telling Jackson Dart, please, Doc, it's a long game, boy. And hey, this ain't 12 games where 6 of them are just against competition that does it really matter from an SEC standpoint? Yeah. No, all these dudes are good, and it's 17 games, and you need to manage your body. So even if you were a backup, that's 2 years to actually work on your body to play legitimate NFL football. Look at pictures of Patrick Mahomes in 2017 and look at pictures of him in 2018 and look at pictures of him in 2019. His body changes because you actually understand what you need to do to get prepared to play the most physically demanding sport in all of professional football, you could argue.
Really small, and it probably doesn't matter because it was last week. Mike Tomlin dropped one of the most devastating burns that include Joe Flacco I'd ever heard. When he was at a press conference, said, I told him not to hit Anthony Richardson because we didn't want Joe Flacco in the game. Whoa. Don't hit Anthony Richardson. Keep that man upright. We're trying to keep him healthy and in the game. I'm like, oh, my God. That's a massive insult to someone. That is a huge burn.
I mean, look, Tomlin's been in this long enough to know now that he's gotten to this Kobe Bryant era where it's I can say anything just because I've been in it so long and my voice carries a lot of respect and a lot of perspective. It also helps that he's never had a losing season, so there's a lot of truth there, and you're just
As an effort of coaching, don't hit the quarterback.
You told us this? Whoa. So I agree. I have the same reaction. I was just but hey, that's Mike Tomlin. He can get away with it.
Actually.
Yeah.
In a weird way, it is great coaching. Leave Anthony Richardson in a football game.
And you learn something, right? We so much, again, I just want us to all learn something and gain better knowledge and get real insight. So even though it's I don't know if you should say that. It's but I appreciate it.
Yeah,
because you learn something. And the way these teams talk about each other is really fascinating. What gets out, what doesn't get out. and letting that one out is pretty cool.
What about Cam Ward and the winless Titans?
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Yep.
I love
that's a leader right there. Hey, I don't need to, and that's a funny thing too.
It's not like everyone in that locker room doesn't know it. They know. Tell them.
This is the one exception, guys. This was a 1 quarterback draft. We all do that. That is pretty much what it's shaping up to be. We'll see how long Jackson Dart can take this, right? So, okay, their situation is a little bit different. They gotta play somebody, and because you're number 1 pick, there's a little bit different pressures on you. Clearly, you still have the 5th-year option. This is a new regime. Is Callahan going to stay? I don't know.
No.
It's not Mike Bergonzi's guy. So we can kind of see how this is all shaping up. That's a leader, and I don't need to see anymore. That boy can play.
His receivers are dropping passes every week. It's crazy.
It's weird. I do see a little juice there.
They could have beat the Broncos in week 1, and his dad was like, guys, catch the football.
His dad was losing it.
Say it one more time.
Now we ass.
You know,
hey,
quickly.
Bro, I agree. Hey, that's a leader, and it's better to acknowledge it now because he's got 17 games to just experiment, just to work on stuff. He's got an NFL arm. He's mobile. Again, they got technically pieces around him. If it comes together, you just want to see real improvement in the second half of the season, right? Whether it's on offense, whether it's team leadership, whether it's just making better decisions. He's the one guy. He's the one young guy. He looks. God, I hate seeing this, but he looks better than Carolina. Carolina could cut Bryce today, and I wouldn't bat
They
an
went
eye.
back and tried again after benching him before, and now he's right back to being the Bryce before. You can't pay him. You got to walk on it. You're going to be a top 5 pick again, and just take another quarterback.
I mean, again, I'm being real critical, but I would walk on it now.
Do you by the way, if I were a Titans fan, I'd buy that shirt with the Titans logo that said "We ass" so fast. If in 2012 they had sold, admit it. If in 2012 they had put a Chiefs logo on a shirt and just said "We ass" because Tyler Thigpen had said it, you'd have purchased.